What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of AoS Trash Pandas. I'm your host, Rob, who forgot to click over the tab and put the rumor engine back up. And with me, as usual, is my co-host, Carson. How's it going, Carson?
It's going pretty well. I didn't forget to do that. But that's because I didn't have to. So,
Excellent.
So that's probably why I didn't forget. No, I'm doing well. I'm like just getting over the head cold that I got while I was in the old world, and then
right.
Yeah, feeling pretty all right. How are you?
I'll be full disclosure. I had like a 3-hour meeting with like medical people today, and they were very, very nice, but I might be a little low energy for everyone tonight. So I'm drinking a Zevia to get a little more caffeine in me, and I will do my best. Ha! But yeah, I mean, it's mostly going to be a Carson show tonight, I think. So you're welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. Did you get a chance to see?
You've got to cram all that attention into one show. Sorry.
It's been 3 weeks.
Sorry, I'd missed 2 weeks is what I meant to say.
Yeah. So drink it in, everyone. What up, Tom? Scotty? Thanks to everyone for joining us. Did you get a chance to see the rumor engine?
I didn't, but I'm looking at it on the screen now, and that seems pretty 40K to me, which means I don't really care.
Yep.
So
agreed.
That's that.
It sure is. The other thing we got today is the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Pretty interesting. So you probably didn't get a chance to watch last week's show, but the chat might have to remind me, but I think we did like an hour and a half just on the Skaven rules or something crazy.
That does not surprise me whatsoever.
It shouldn't, but like it was fun. But like, yeah, we won't be obviously doing that or anywhere near it. But and we didn't really get a chance because I was gone all day and whatnot. But I think we're gonna be just kind of giving our thoughts, mostly like a highlight reel of the new rules, right? I mean, because like, Honest Rob and like all these other channels, they do like full deep dives. They read everything out and whatnot. And though I did that last week with the Skaven stuff, I don't think like if we were to do it even just on all 7 of these, if we were going to like deep dive on all of them, it would take like
It'd be the whole show.
It'd be the whole show. And Carson is somewhat freshly back from Austria, from the what's the official name? I always call it the wrong thing.
Official, like the town that it was in?
No, like the name of the tournament.
It's just Worlds, AoS Worlds.
But like, isn't the one in November also called the
that one's
Worlds?
Called WCW. So it's called the World Championships of Warhammer, basically.
Yeah.
So they couldn't call it the same thing. Actually, I don't think there would be any issue if they did call it the same thing. It would just be confusing. And it already is confusing. So
it is kind of because like there's no team, but it's the team championship.
Yeah.
Like Olympics of AoS, basically, right?
Yeah. There were more people at Worlds. Like I think World Championships of Warhammer last November had like, how many was it? It was like 150 or something like that, or maybe
really?
It was less.
I thought it was more than that, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Maybe it was more. No, I can check this in just a second. But like the
there's more people? But there's 7 people.
Yeah, there's only 124 people.
What?
At the World Championships of Warhammer. So the singles event only had 124 people. The teams event had 224 people because it's 28 countries with 8 players each.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So massive, huge event. Like
crazy.
It's the biggest event I've been to that wasn't LVO, basically.
I see. Yeah. Wow.
So, pretty big.
Awesome. Carson? There's another new name. Now? There's another new name to add to the pile of names that you have already. Carson. Yeah. Carson should play Nurgle, being the vector of disease he is. That from Devin.
Yeah.
Who knows you well enough.
He was on Team Canada.
Oh, there you go. Even more.
Got sick probably because of me and Dom. So we were the first ones to get sick, and then it spread. I did play 2 Nurgle players, so I guess it makes sense.
That's true. And I
And
heard
I
that
popped them.
I heard that they farted in your face, and it all went downhill from there.
Yep. But I took it like a champ.
Good, good.
Um,
Are you and Dom the youngest?
no, it's
Okay.
me. I'm the youngest, and
Okay.
then Devin, I think, is the next youngest.
Okay, I was gonna liken it to like, when your kid first goes to like, well, I guess most of you don't know this, but like when your kid first goes to preschool or kindergarten or whatever, they just bring all the disease back, and then you just get sick all the time because they are sick virtually, all the time. So yeah, awesome, right on. Well, I guess I just hope you are all good, Rob. I'm okay. Yeah, sorry, it's not for me. It was like a meeting. Sorry. Yeah, I guess I didn't, I like, how do I explain it? It's not for me or whatever. It's like a meeting. It's a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing. But like even though I'm like a talker and I'm a social butterfly and everything like that, it doesn't mean I'm not an introvert, because like introvert versus extrovert is where you get your energy from and where you lose energy to. And I am an introvert because I gain energy by being on my own, and I am drained, slowly or whatever. I'm kind of play for both teams, but like I'm mostly, I get drained by being in social situations, especially with people I don't really know and that kind of thing. And it's more just like a formal-esque kind of thing. But thank you. Yeah, sorry, I am fine. I'm not adding any other medical issues to the ones I already have. I went and saw, I actually did see a physiotherapist last week for my intercostal muscles that I injured in jiu-jitsu and whatever. And I'm kind of like, I was kind of down because I had to like tell them I have to stop. But like I was excited because he gave me like a program of like stretches and exercises and different things to do to like improve that and actually hopefully not get injured again. So, because it was 3 times I got injured. So, but anyway, yeah, no, I'm doing okay. And yeah, thanks to everyone. So why don't we talk about some bone daddies, some boner boys. Check the time. We're over 5 minutes. Excellent. What did you think overall? Right before you start, what do you think? But like, what's cool and interesting is they're not doing the same thing for every faction. Like they got a new spell lore. Like what? That's so crazy and awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they all cast on 5, which is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Like super easy to get them off, which is nice. Same, and also for the boner boys is very fitting. That you can get them off easy. Anyway, so I'm going to continue on something else. No,
keep going.
In general,
I think you should keep going. I was interested.
In general, they got like a lot of interesting recursion tech with their Mortek guard. The new spell lore, it's just like a different tool set, so you can get like +1 attack. You have a way to like siphon health from an enemy unit to a friendly unit and bring models back.
Yeah.
And then I forget what the first spell is. Bolster creation. What does that do again?
It's ignore the first point of damage in each phase.
Yeah, so that's pretty good if you're going with like the traditional Morghast, Archai, and Catacross castle. Like I could see that being pretty powerful because they're already on a 2-up save base. Right?
2 up, and then don't you have access to a 5-up ward? Like
exactly.
Like,
so
what the
2 up,
hell?
5
And
up,
then
ignore the first damage of every phase. It's pretty good.
That's crazy.
Makes them really, really tanky.
Yeah.
So.
And then couldn't you? And then the new Mortek guard have an ability to reduce rend by 1. You're just like, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah.
What the hell?
I don't think that would apply to. It's like non-hero, non-fly that it would apply to. So it wouldn't apply to Archai.
Oh, okay.
Or
but, I see. I see. You're talking about. I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you talking about which one?
The new Mortek guard ability.
Oh, okay. Well, we can get to that in a second. I didn't realize that. Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty interesting new toolkit. They clearly want you to use Mortek guard because I mean we can go down to the War Scrolls too. Like the Bone Shaper got an ability where you can spend a CP and recur half-size unit of Mortek guard, which is really good.
Really good, yeah.
And so I think what is it like 3 different ways that you can be bringing stuff back, which is pretty nice. Like bringing models back, and then you also have like +3 rally dice too, which is really good.
Wow. And that's in addition to like the other stuff that they already have in their toolkit. So you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can really
It's pretty neat. The Mortek Guard War Scroll, or this War Scroll, is a little bit different in that it doesn't have anti-charge plus one red. It's got anti-cavalry, which I think that was the change. And then you don't have like the ethereal 4-up if they didn't charge or whatever. Now it's subtract 1 from the rend for whatever's getting attacked. So
okay,
just because it's like an inherent all-out defense, which is kind of nice. And as we saw, the all-out defense changes. It's going to be just for one activation, or one attack, basically. So that's
so like
basically get 2 now, which I kind of like to see.
But and that like okay, like Kroxigor have moon hammers and they've got regular hammers. All out defense still applies to both attacks. It's just like basically what you get all out defense for against one unit, right? Is how it works. You don't care about profiles or anything like that, right?
It's kind of like how currently all out attack only applies +1 to hit for that attack activation. So even if you fight twice, you don't get the +1 to hit on the second fight. It's the same thing for all out defense for like you're spending it on one of your opponent's attack activations. So like their whole fight ability for one unit.
Okay.
So
that's what I thought, but I have had no time to look at the details. That's interesting. See, you know what's funny is because I've never had a unit that has fight twice before. So I didn't even know that all out attack only applies to the first one because it used to in third apply to everything until the end of the turn. Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
Also, Swaggy Shadow says the run reduction is for harvesters, a crawler, and foot wizards only. So okay, that makes sense. So it wouldn't apply to like Mortek themselves, which is interesting.
Wait, what?
Because it says once per phase, army wide reaction of Ossiarch, Bone Reaper, War Machine, Monster, or Mortisan unit wholly within this unit's combat range was targeted by an attack ability.
So they're not reducing rend on themselves, only on other things that are nearby. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's not as good, I think. I mean, but then it gives you a reason to like take minimum size units a bit more. And like they can be around sort of protecting other things, I guess. But yeah.
I think using the regular Mortek Guard with the tools that you're getting and the other stuff is probably better.
Might be better, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're running into a lot of cavalry, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
But you can use the old Mortek Guard with the new Bone Shaper, so that seems like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You can mix it up. So, and maybe run like one of these Mortek Guard if you're worried about your harvesters or your crawlers or your mortisans being attacked or something. So
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about all out attack and all out defense, the changes in general? Because like that's really probably the biggest news that we've had the whole GHB, other than maybe the change to battle tactics, which they also showed.
So the big thing is that one like thing to keep in mind is these changes are like a description in the Warcom article. They're not. We didn't actually see the ability themselves.
Right.
So I'm just going to say that there will be like small changes. There has to be, right? There has to be like minuscule details that are going to change the way that they structured it in that Warcom article description. But
what do you mean by that?
I'm going to say because like you're going to have a whole ability that describes like what it does. And that Warcom article was like one paragraph describing both. So there's going to be a loss of detail.
Oh, right. Fair. Yeah.
So just like very like specifics, I'm sure there's going to be something that is different. But the thing that we did learn was that a unit that uses all out attack will now suffer a -1 to save for the rest of the phase, which is a pretty big thing.
That's crazy. That's like the biggest. I think that's the biggest single change. Like
yeah, it's pretty massive. So like you can't have like a 3-up save unit go in all out attack, kick the crap out of something, and then tie something else up safely. Right. Instead, you're probably going to see a lot more like binary trades between units where it's like, I have to completely kill this unit, otherwise the clapback is going to end me. Because like you'd have things like, I think you have armies like Slaves to Darkness and Stormcast, which actually Stormcast probably doesn't care because they have a lot of sources of +1 to hit.
And they're already hitting on 3s mostly too.
Yeah, the army that
So
probably hits this the most is Iron Jaws, to be
I
honest.
think so. Yeah.
Where you're hitting on 4's base, so it's like you kind of feel like you have to all out attack to get your damage through, and then you're a 3-up save, which when you go from a 3-up to a 4-up is a huge loss in efficiency,
Huge. Yeah.
right? Whereas like with destruction, most of the other units are like, yes, they're hitting on 4's, but ogres are saving on 5. So I'm like, okay, like
Yeah,
I wasn't
exactly.
relying on my save anyway. Like it doesn't really matter.
That's what I was
Um,
thinking about, like with rat ogres and stuff like that, because they're already hitting on
yeah,
fours and stuff like that. So you know, like you're like, well, I need to spend the all out attack, and then it's like, okay, well, what were they going to be saving on 6s? Like 6s to nothing? I don't really care, and I'm hoping for the ward save for Molder or something anyway, or like rattling guns, because like this applies even if you use it in the shooting phase, we think, but it might not be. We haven't seen the full rule, as you said. So like rattling guns, it's like, okay, they're already on a 6-up save, so I don't care, you know.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah. So I think that like 3-up, 4-up save territory is where you probably care the most about
right,
this change.
right,
Or like, I mean, even a Gargant going in all out attacking, and then all of a sudden they're saving on 5s instead of 4s is pretty bad, right?
right.
Like
Yeah.
they'll kick the crap out of something, but if they don't get to make any saves whatsoever, that's kind of rough.
Well, and
Um,
it's like if you're not hitting on 3s, then you're just like, there's a really good chance that like I get almost nothing, and I just don't do anything. And so I really agree. I think Iron Jaws are, you know, the worst off in this, because like the whole army hits on 4s, like at best. Some things hit on 5s. So yeah, yeah, it's gonna be kind of an interesting thing, but like we also don't know. You know what I mean? Like they've already given us. We haven't even seen the Iron Jaws article. Cruel Boys thankfully got their own separate section. I was super happy about that. And like a lot of Skaven stuff hits on 4s. We got the new Brood Terror, and it hands out +1 to hit for Molder units in a bubble, that as long as they're not Storm Fiends or whatever, right? So like that, they're kind of overcoming that, and now, or they have the tools to overcome that to a certain extent anyway. So yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, like we have to wait and see, right? Like maybe they'll get something as well in Iron Jaws.
yeah. And then the other change is to all out defense, which is, as we alluded to before, it only applies to one attack activation, which means like, let's
Right.
say you have one unit that's in combat with 3 enemy units. The way that it works right now is you all out defense and you have +1 to save for the entire phase. So all 3 of those enemy units are going to be hitting you, and you've got +1 to save against all of them.
Right.
Now
Until the end of the phase, essentially, like
Yeah,
anything that
exactly.
attacks them. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the way that it works is you have to pick which unit you think is going to be the most dangerous, and all out defense against that specifically. So let's say it's the
Right.
first unit that activates, and then you all out defense. You go through that activation, then the other 2 enemy units fight you. You don't have +1 to save against them.
No.
So this I think there's certain. I think this is them kind of trying to disincentivize like massive pieces on the board, like big reinforced hammers
Right.
that are just like one unit, or like big reinforced anvils, especially.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you have like it's really popular to do like 10 packs of Blight Kings right now, but if you have a bunch of minimum size units going into them, they don't have the clap back to probably kill the second thing that's in combat with them, and the first thing that hits them they'll be tanky against, but then the second thing they're going to be saving on like 4s or 5s probably, which is
Right.
not great. So I wonder if that's going to change the dynamic a little bit of these like big anvil units.
Right. Like and Ard Boys too. Like that's another thing. Like people often take reinforced. You got 20 of them, so you're rocking like 40 wounds on a 3-up. But
Yeah, like Ard Boys, like Blight Kings, Morghast Archai, Catacross,
Chosen,
like Frondis, Chosen.
like almost
those
always
things-
reinforced, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those things are like, they kind of don't like getting swarmed by minimum sized units now. Whereas
Right.
previously it was like, that's fine, because now previously it was just bad to like throw a whole bunch of minimum sized units at something, because you weren't getting as much value on your all out attack, right? Whereas now, because you're slowly chipping away at them, it's something to consider, which I kind of
Well, the other thing too is like activation, right? If you send in like a huge, like a reinforced unit, and then you go all out attack, then you're more likely to get the kill and whatever before they clap back and kill you. But now, yeah, it is incentivizing more minimum sized units, which is interesting. I hope it doesn't like take away from it too much, because like sometimes thematically it's just kind of cooler, like a horde style unit to have lots of guys or whatever. Like 3 rat ogres is kind of lame to me. Like I don't feel like I'm going to change that no matter what. but 6 is cooler. But then the other thing too is like if you're getting recursion, a lot of the time it actually pays to have minimum sized units. Like if you're a unit of 3 or 5 as opposed to 10, you're getting more value when you recur them at half strength. But yeah.
Yep, it's very true. And yeah, Scotty just pointed out in the chat too, like Nighthawk won't care whatsoever about the
yes. Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
It's interesting. Like there's going to be a whole bunch of armies that, and people brought up shooting armies too, where it's like, I don't care if I'm -1 to save if I'm 18 inches away from you, right?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But
it might help. Like, I feel like shooting was, other than like, what are they called? Long strikes. And like a couple of the units like KO, obviously, different things like that. We weren't really seeing a lot of shooting. And that was kind of like weirdly affecting the meta in a poor way. Like, because shooting, like a lot of people don't like shooting, but it's like kind of part of an ecosystem that like helps things from getting out of control. You know what I mean? It's almost like a predator of certain styles of things. And like we weren't seeing it enough. So it was just kind of like, well, I forget what the unit was. And I was saying like, yeah, but like if they brought shooting, then like that unit sucks. And whoever said it, might have been you even, was just like, yeah, but shooting's not really part of the meta. Oh, it was Vizic. Because he's on a 5-up save. And I was saying like, yeah, but the problem with Vizic, he's got a 5-up save. Like he's just gonna get blasted by shooting. And then the reply was like, there's not enough shooting in the meta for that to matter. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of get it now, but like, so hopefully this will kind of, I mean, not that I want to see bad things happen to Vizic, but you know what I mean? But like, yeah, I don't know. By the way, I did try to get the rules, but I couldn't find them. The article on all out defense and all out attack. So,
oh yeah,
I think what
it was part of the Rule Boys.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's okay.
Oh, it's on that article, right? Yeah, I think you're probably right. But anyway,
he says Nighthawker 4+ anyway, right? So they're already at where the 3+ armies are upset about. That's true, but that's A, assuming Ren 1 only, and B, what's it called? Those 3+ save armies are typically trading wound density.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like whereas Nighthawk, you have like a ton of wounds, and then you also have recursion as well.
Well, and the other thing too is it's like Nighthawk. I mean, Nighthawk are doing great right now, so that's kind of like a separate matter. But like, okay, so all out attack. Like every army in the game uses all out attack except for Nighthawk. Every army in the game uses all out defense except for Nighthawk. All out attack and all out defense just got infinitely worse. And Nighthawk is unchanged. So like it's not like their 5-up ability, their 5-up ward ability is only going to apply to one unit. I mean, they could do that, right? If they did like, okay, now Nighthawk's 5-up ward only applies to one attack sequence, then they would start to feel the burn. You know what I mean? But like all out attack, they're virtually unchanged by it. You can all out attack and you're not, obviously they're using all out attack, but like they're not like basically losing the benefit of all out attack or all out defense because they have a different ability. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't explain that well, but yeah. The only real no-brainer for me now is PT. What's PT? I know PT is physiotherapy. people often call it that.
Part-time?
Part-time. That's true. Yeah.
There you go. I
work FT.
Same. And PT.
Right.
So do we want to go on to the next army, or I
Sure,
know
let's
we
do
want
it. Yeah, if anyone else has any like things that they want to do. Yeah, speaking of Night Haunt, they did come out with their faction terrain. The rules came out for them because they're getting new faction terrain with Soulblight. Um, did you get a chance to look at them?
I did, yeah, and I saw it in play too, which is kind of neat.
Right.
Like I was just watching a TTS game. Basically, it's like you set up one fully in
Yeah.
your territory, and then I think you set up two more, like 12 inches away from the other ones, and also outside of enemy territory.
Right.
But the interesting thing is, it kind of doesn't matter where you set them up, because
Less so.
after a unit of yours moves, you can like set one up near
Yeah.
that unit, outside of 3 of enemies, outside of 3 of terrain and objectives. And the rule is basically like if you're within 3 of them, you can't use commands, which is pretty powerful. Like
That's
it's pretty huge.
crazy.
Now
So-
it seems like it's opt-in,
Right.
but there is a subfaction that's being added for Scourge of Gairan, which allows them to move at the end of the turn, which is pretty spicy. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, so now is there a rule like I didn't notice I read through it kind of quickly. Is there a rule where when they teleport, they like how do you get them into combat? Can they move within combat range of enemy
Yeah, they can.
units?
With that subfaction, they can.
That's crazy.
At base, they can't. Like you basically move them with your units, and
Right.
then your opponent, you'd probably be positioning them in such a way where you have to engage them if you're engaging certain units of yours.
Right. Right. I see.
Which is definitely possible, right? Like if you have 32 millimeter bases, you just honeycomb around it, and then if something charges you, they can't use commands, which is pretty big.
Wow.
So
Yeah. And then what's their profile? They have a 5-up. Is it ethereal?
no.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a 5-up save,
Yeah.
but it also has a 5-up ward.
Oh,
8-up.
right. It's right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's much better than a 4-up with no ward, obviously. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
dang. Okay.
And then it's got another ability, which is basically once per turn army at the end of the turn, you can pick up to 3 friendly Night Haunt units wholly within 12 of it, and then basically you heal D3 them if they're damaged, and if they're not damaged, you basically return models back to that unit with a health characteristic of D3 or less. So
This is so good.
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
this
pretty
terrain
spicy.
piece. There's no way to bring them back, though, correct?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, my son plays Night Haunt. I'd be very happy for him, but damn. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those things where it's like, it's a terrain piece that's important enough and impactful in the game enough that you have to kill it. Like,
Yeah. I don't disagree.
and there's 3 of them. So it's,
Yeah. I mean, like, even if you don't kill all 3 of them, you can at least kind of minimize their impact by killing off 1 or 2. Like, I think that is necessary. You know what I mean? Depending on where they are and how much they're affecting the game. But yeah. Is there another terrain piece that's like that you want to kill off as much or more than this one?
gets
Oh,
is really-
Gits. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
call.
the ogre maw pit. It's like a lot of people don't think to,
Right.
but you should. Like,
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating though, because sometimes you're just spending resources on this thing where you're just like, it's not even part of their friggin' army, man. They didn't
Yeah.
pay anything for this thing. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I think Skaven weirdly is the one sometimes you want to kill off the least because they're going to get a new one at the top of the turn. So sometimes, like, if it's not positioned well, you can actually do them a favor by not killing it off. You know what I mean? Because it's just like it's not in the best position possible. But if you kill it off, then they could poop out another one in like a prime location. You know what they say about real estate: location, location, location. So,
that's right. 3 times for each nexus of grief.
yep, that's true. And for novels, potentially.
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's a great call. Cool. Should we talk a little bit about Cruel Boys? This is one that I think is like potentially one of the more important ones because like they were having a tough time. I think like Cruel Boys Skaven for me at least. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just partly just my own bias, obviously, or whatever. But like the Skaven changes feel huge to me. Like they feel like they make Mulder viable almost. Maybe, we'll see. But the Cruel Boys. Like, what did you think about the Cruel Boys one? Like Eric was quite excited. Our friend of Eric, our friend of the channel, Eric. Yeah, friend of Eric.
Yeah, I like them. I like that it seems like it adds a playstyle that is maybe not like previously seen, which I think I appreciate about the Scourge of Gyran stuff in general, where it's basically like, hey, what if you played the army in this way instead of
interesting
some other? Yeah. So like,
okay.
With the
So
plus
are you talking about the battle formations?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
And also, I was talking about the Swamp Horde Bullies one.
Swamp Horde Billies. Okay, so pick a friendly Cruel Boys unit to be the target. It must be in combat with an enemy unit that is not in combat with another. So it can only be in contact with one Cruel Boy unit. Kragnos cannot be picked. For the rest of the turn, add 1 to attacks characteristic of target's melee weapons. Yeah, that's crazy. Especially
it has to be in combat with more than one.
Oh, it has to be a unit with two Cruel Boys units?
Yeah, at least 2.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're ganging up on someone, then you can add 1 to your attacks characteristic, which is pretty big.
Okay. Wait, pick a friendly Cruel Boys unit to be the target. Right.
Yeah, and then pick an enemy unit.
Must be in combat with an enemy unit
that is in combat with another.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I literally kept reading it as not, and there's no not there. That's crazy. Sorry, it's hard to listen and read at the same time. Okay. And then add 1 of the attack. Yeah, I mean, like for an army that's trying to like to a large extent fish for mortals, like crits, that's like an insanely awesome ability. Like that's so cool.
Yeah. Well, like especially with gut rippers where they're 2 attacks each.
Yeah.
So 2 going to 3 is a 50% output increase.
50%,
yeah.
Nuts,
right.
That's crazy.
So, and with the ability to like, make someone strike last or something like that, or you have like the better crits or something like that. Like it makes it pretty interesting.
And they're a 5-up save unit. So yeah, you take, 2 minimum size units of gut rippers instead of 1 unit of 20. And like now you're playing into the meta and I don't know, my headphones cut out for like half a second. That was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. This is really exciting. Okay, I have a question. Like I did see the monstrous traits here they can only be given to monsters, right? So that would cover heroes that are, or does that only cover heroes that are monsters, or can you just give them to like can you give it to like a random monster?
It just says monsters.
Okay. So like it could be given to like a unit that's a monster that's not a hero?
Yep.
Okay. And a unit obviously that's a hero and a monster.
Yeah, as long as it's not unique.
I'm trying to think. I don't think there are, now that I think about it, there's no monster units in Cruel Boys that aren't a hero.
Is there not a sludge ray card?
Yeah. No, there isn't. But maybe Dobby? I don't know if he's a monster or not, though. I don't think he wasn't before, to my knowledge. Sam says that new Cruel Boys HQ can take out.
Mark Crawl is a war machine. That's weird.
Oh right, yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, it's all heroes. Yeah,
it's such a dumb whatever. Okay, yeah. And then like, so here's another question, or here's the main question that I wanted to ask. You've got a heroic trait. You've got an artifact, right? Does that mean Cruel Boys basically get 3 enhancements? Cool. Yep. Good. I'm fine. Yeah. No notes. That's great. I have Cruel Boys. I just haven't played them since like, well into 3rd. Okay. So then they are add 1 to hit rolls for the companion weapons. That's really awesome because everything's hitting on 4s to my knowledge. Subtract 1 from the Ren characteristic of weapons used for attacks that target this unit. That's also freaking awesome. Man, I don't even know which one I would pick between those two, to be honest. I guess it depends on whether it's like a DPS hero or like a buffing piece. And then once per battle, They can use a normal move or retreat ability as if it were your movement phase. In addition, no normal mortal damage is They don't. I don't know. I feel like that's the worst one for sure.
It's tricky. I probably
Because
I'd probably pick one of the other two as well. But
right, because like if you use a retreat ability, right, in the hero phase, it still counts as having you retreated anyway, right? So you could like retreat and then move in the movement phase, but you couldn't then charge. Right?
correct.
So
Well, I mean, it just says you can use normal move or retreat. It doesn't have to be a retreat.
yeah, but I'm just thinking like utility purposes. Like obviously like in the hero move in the hero phase you could move and then you could adjust like your bubbles and go for spells and do different tricky things, which is super interesting for sure, right? Actually, you can't go for spells because the only named character with a mount is Gobsprack. So, but putting that aside, right? Then you could normal move and then you could move again and then charge. So you're getting like double the distance. So fair enough, right?
This is enemy hero phase only.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think like the argument for this would be like
right.
let's say I know this is going to be after this tactic is gone, but like let's say your opponent calls he's the center, and then you have your guy like in the center of the table in your deployment, and you know that your opponent only has like random chaff essentially to do seize the center with, and you just go like, cool, I'm going to move him to the center of the table.
Right.
Have fun dealing with that problem, and you've probably done high attack, which is really good.
Yep. Totally.
But in general, I'd probably still choose like
what mean or toughen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's where I'm at too. And then as Sam was alluding to in the chat, Swamp boss Scumdrek is pretty deadly now, I guess. Is that what I'm hearing or understanding? He was saying he can take Catacross out in one shot.
He hits pretty hard.
Yeah, crit mortal on the companion for 3 mortal damage if you get it. But then you're only averaging like 5 total, or like 4 probably, like if you're taking averages and stuff. So, and only 1 rend, but yeah, I don't know. The best part about this though is this right here, rigged odds. Right? The first time you fail a dirty trick roll option, you give this unit 1 betting chip. You've already sold me. I don't even know. Like, I don't need to know what comes after this. I get poker chips. Like, I get betting chips. Like, okay, as a Skaven player, I'm signing up instantly. And then each time you make a dirty trick roll for an ability that targets a unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit, you can spend any number of betting chips. For each betting chip you spend, add 1 to that dirty trick roll. Like it just adds so much more reliability to those. And there's no limit on how many betting chips you can get. So you could, I mean, like, I guess that's assuming you've already failed like 5 or 6 or whatever, you poor bastard. But like, oh man.
Also, I think Sam was talking about the Kiloboss ability solo, because Catacross is an infantry hero.
Yeah,
you could drag Catacross out of combat.
I see. So effectively killing him, because you're not likely to kill him with just this unit.
No, but it'd be funny to be like, let's not be near your castle. Let's drag you over here. That sounds great.
Well, and the Gnash Tooth, the Kiloboss on Gnash Tooth is like literally the thing that people make fun of, where it's always a race to the bottom. All they do is lower the points on this guy, right? And now finally he's got like this really cool utility piece that you can pull out and potentially gank something. I think it's awesome. Yeah. That's in the combat phase, correct?
Yep. Any combat phase, pick an enemy infantry hero, roll 2d6. Your model moves that far, and then the infantry hero has to be set up within an inch of your model afterwards. So you basically just drag him with you, which is really fun. And the fun thing is you can do that even if like he charged or something. So Catacross can charge over here and you'd be like, nope, yoink, let's go this way. And you're like, oh, okay, bye. Sounds good. So that's a really fun control piece.
And you know what's cool about this too? Like, I love dogs. You love dogs. This is basically like a giant dog just going "Arr," and just pulling you along, like out of whatever. Oh man,
Got
this
a
is
full retinue. Just
this is so fun. God dang. Oh man, that's so sick. The Cruel Boys. What a great bunch of stuff they got. You know, monstrous traits, a great new formation, 2 awesome units that can do different cool things. I'm taking both of these units, like straight up. Anyway, cool. Okay, and now the thing that everyone's complaining about, Cities of Sigmar.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance. So, Carson, please explain to me why people are complaining. Like, first of all, sorry, before you start again.
It's the second time you've done this.
I'm
You're
sorry.
like,
I'm
"Please
sorry.
explain,"
I'm
and
sorry.
then you just interrupt yourself. While...
Caffeine. But
Okay.
but like, I do want to say that, like, from what I understand, they are buffing the humans, and I'm glad about that because everyone's complaining all the time about how humans suck in Cities of Sigmar. Everyone's playing everything but humans, and all the cool new models are humans. Why don't we get cool new rules? So at least they're buffing the right section. With that in mind, please tell me why it's bad.
Yeah, so the battle formations aren't really the problem. Like,
Okay.
veteran cannoneers are it's a good, you get
It's a good.
you get to re-roll like a hit roll, a wound roll, or the damage characteristic for each of your cannons, which is great. That's really good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Or for 3 cannons rather.
But
And
so,
then
like,
you're-
just to be clear, so if one unit shoots, like, each of them gets to do this, but you can't re-roll a hit roll and a wound roll. It's just you got to pick one of those things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Fearless Exemplars is, I honestly forgot what it did. It's not part of the problem. I think just because there's so many things to go over, maybe I'm just going to skip to the bad part, which is Zenestra. Basically, if you go to her war
She's
scroll,
always the problem. Yeah.
So I'll start at like the most egregious thing, which is her prayer.
Okay.
Right?
Her prayer is the word of the God King here.
Yep.
Okay.
So word of the God King is the first thing is it goes off on a 4 for some reason. And then the next thing is the very first sentence is you make your chanting roll of d6 and then re-roll if it's an unmodified 1. So she already has built-in protection against like the worst part about prayers. So you effectively have to miscast in order to fail this. Then you have 3 effects that you could choose from, or you can pick 2 effects if you roll a 10 plus. The first one is you basically get like a bubble of "Don't touch me" for 5 inches of combat zone for your unit. So basically, like, enemies can't move within 5 inches of you instead of 3 inches, which is pretty cool. Like, it makes it so that,
I see. Of any unit, a human unit wholly within 12 inches of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa, that's crazy. Because then you can also
That's
redeploy.
cool. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that is cool. I don't mind that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat. I don't mind that. Like, it's a cool tech piece. The second one is basically, so it's each time a friendly Cities of Sigmar human model that is wholly within 12 inches of this unit is slain by a combat attack, and the model was in combat with the attacking unit, roll a dice on a 6-up and inflict 1 mortal damage. So you're basically reflecting mortal wounds back on a 6, which is like, okay. A lot of, that's like a sub-faction for a lot of...
It's kind of like the old
Stormcast.
I was going to say Caustic Blood or whatever from Tyranids with, remember the Gene Stealers when they could, Okay.
Yeah, whenever a model dies, 6-up, it does a mortal wound back.
Okay, that's not too bad, because like how many are you probably rolling? Like 10?
Yeah, if they're steel helms, you might roll a bunch, but like...
Okay.
And then the last one, pick up to 3 friendly Cities of Sigmar human units to be the targets. Remove those units from the battlefield and set them up again wholly within 12 inches of this unit and not in combat. Those units cannot use charge abilities for the rest of the turn. So basically what that means, there's no range on selecting these units.
I noticed that. Yeah.
You basically, there's no incentive not to just whip a bunch of cavaliers or something at your opponent.
Yeah.
Kick the crap out of them. And then in your opponent's turn, you say, all right, guys, let's come back. And you counter chant and bring them all back to you. So now there's nothing in your opponent's face anymore. despite you going and alpha striking them.
And you
Right?
get to re-roll a 1.
Exactly. So you use your first turn to charge up prayer points, and then you
Right.
use the counter chant to bring them back, basically.
Whoa. And she's a
And it's
priest
like
too, so she can basically guarantee
exactly, exactly.
it.
So
Woo!
pretty good.
Whoa.
And then
Yeah.
I'll move on to the second thing on her war scroll, which is just for some reason.
And if you get a
pick
10 plus, you get 2 of these things too. So you can
Yeah.
pull them back and make them like outside of 5 inches. You don't get to.
Yeah. And then the
Okay.
other thing is on her war scroll, for some reason, you just pick an enemy wizard, priest, or manifestation within 18 inches, and then on a 3-up, you deal that many mortal wounds.
Well, sorry,
So-
what is it? What are we looking at?
Her first ability in any hero phase. So in both hero phases,
Okay.
he
Yeah.
picks a wizard, priest, or manifestation,
Uh-huh.
rolls a
With an 18.
dice, and does
Right.
that many mortal wounds to it.
Gee.
So it's D6 mortal wounds on a 3-up, basically.
And it's not a prayer, so she doesn't get shot in the crotch or anything when she hits a 1.
No,
It just
just
doesn't
happens.
go off. Yeah.
It's both hero phases. So like you could be picking up a foot hero like every turn with her.
Oh, any hero phase. That's
Because it's
crazy.
18-inch range. Like, why does she get
That's
that?
crazy. And how many
Yeah.
points is she now?
I have to look at the article. Let's take a look.
That is
And so that's part one of like, why would you do this to us, GW?
right.
Um,
What?
So she is 250 points.
That was not targeted at you, Keith. I'm sorry. Like that's not. It's like literally everyone. Sorry. She's how many points?
250.
She's got a 4-up ward, by the way, and 9 health.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, GW. What have you
Yeah.
done? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'd like to bring your eyes slightly to the right, to the
I
new
don't
Cavalier
want
War Scroll that we have.
to. I don't want to. I don't want to, Carson.
Well, you're
Okay.
good.
I'm good.
So
Hey.
these new Cavaliers, they do have one less attack. That is true. But
Okay.
they are also 3s to hit instead of 4s to hit, which is pretty big.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And they have a new ability.
Okay.
I'm just going to read it out, and then I'll
Okay.
explain the implications after. So it's
Please do.
any charge phase. If this unit is in combat and has not charged this turn, pick this unit and up to one friendly Free Guild Cavalier Marshal or Free Guild Marshal on Griffin
Okay.
within this unit's combat range to be the targets.
Yeah.
Roll a dice. Add 1 to the roll if there are fewer models in this unit than the total number of enemy models in units that are in combat with this unit. On a 4-up, for the rest of the turn, the targets count as having charged. And now I want you to take a look at the Free Guild Cavalier Marshal War Scroll.
Okay. Are you going to send that to me?
No, I'm just going to read it out.
Okay,
Basically,
please.
it is once per battle army, any combat phase. If this unit charged this turn, which it would count as having charged with this new ability on the Cavalier unit,
Yes.
pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar human cavalry unit that charged this turn, which this unit would have considered it has charged because
Yeah.
it used that ability to be the target. That unit and this unit have strike first for the rest of the turn. So, so you charge into these Cavaliers that have now been pulled all the way back to Sinestra,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh well, I rolled a 4-up, so now I count as having charged, and also I fight before you. So I alpha strike you in your own turn before you get to fight me."
Oh,
Which
that's
is-
so obnoxious.
It's so stupid.
It is. It's really dumb.
And of course, you can line them up in such a way where like there's small surface area between the 3 units.
Right.
Cavalier. Let's say you have 2 or 3 units of Cavaliers. Like, why did they do this?
I
This
don't
doesn't
know.
make any sense.
I
And
don't
it's
know.
160 points for 5 Cavaliers. So a
Jeez.
10 block is 320 points.
Whoa. That's crazy, actually. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
All the Team Canada people are joining the chat. By the way, everyone coming from the Team Canada like Worlds debrief call, we still haven't started talking about Worlds yet. So
Yes, I'm sorry.
because we were too distracted with cities. Being the way that
Yes.
it is now.
Yes. We were distracted by like how awesome KB was and how horrifying some of this potential is. Keith says, I really don't like the Zenestra model. I refuse to buy one regardless of effectiveness. That's because you have a soul. How about the rest of you? Pontifex? Devin says, stop giving away cities' secrets, Carson. No, give them all away. It's the only way. It's the only way.
Yep, and Bryce is right. You can give them +1 attacks with the order as well. So if they count as having charge, they can be 3 attacks each, which is pretty bad.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're
So we're gonna see a lot of Cavalier, I assume.
Yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
Right.
Which sucks. I wish it wasn't, but anyway, that's the city stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the peak like power creep that we're seeing in Scourge of Gairan so far, I think.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like the KB stuff is mostly a correction of like, like just trying to bring them
cool
up.
tech and like
It is
an additional, yeah.
Yeah. And they also need they needed more of a boost anyway. So I think, what about Night Haunt? They've been suffering the past ever since they basically got like double nerf hammered. Now, like putting aside the fact that they are essentially buffed by everyone else getting nerfed from all out attack and all out defense, essentially, and they're not suffering any of those same things. What did you think about? I do remember one of their battle formations looks very interesting. Which one is it? Oh yeah, well there is actually I don't think I was even thinking of the Nexus of Grief one. But if you could move them in there and just do those things, that's kind of awesome in of itself. But then there's also Blades of Eternal Rust. Pick an enemy unit that is not in combat with any friendly Night Haunt units to be the target. Subtract 1 from save rolls for the target for the rest of the turn. So it just says pick an enemy unit that is not, or that is in combat. Okay, good. Okay. So enemy hero phase. So you can charge in and then in their hero phase make them -1 to their save. That's not as good as I originally thought. But yeah, the Nexus of Grief one looks cool. I don't know.
Yep.
Anything to like highlight in terms of their artifacts that you thought was particularly good?
I don't think so.
Okay. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of this unit's melee weapons for each non-faction terrain feature that is being contested by friendly units to a maximum of 8. That's crazy. What a weird.
I feel like Night Haunt already has like a really good heroic trait and artifact that like every list is taking.
Yeah.
So I
so
don't
maybe
know.
I do remember looking at the Black Coach and thinking it was very interesting, but like, I don't remember what it is now because it's been long enough. I mean, I always want the Black Coach to be good, but yeah, pick one of the follow. Yep.
There's a list right now that has nothing to do with this that is kind of like making its way through the Canada Discord.
Okay.
Which is, I think it's like 8 units of Pyregeists, 2 Black Coaches, some Appreciators.
Cool.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
So it's just like just crapping mortal wounds out. It's a whole bunch of shooting damage. Everything has a 5-up ward. There's a lot of recursion. It's real. It's very good. It's what Denmark brought against like it to Worlds. And
Right.
It's really good.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, so like, do you think that the new Black Coach will replace the old Black Coach?
Probably not.
Interesting.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, it does have like once per turn any hero phase pick one of the so like every hero phase, right? Pick one of the following effects. This unit has crit mortal instead of crit auto wound, and then which you're probably not going to pick most of the time, but like putting that aside, pick a friendly Night Haunt unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Each time the unit uses the rally command, you receive 3 additional rally points, which is kind of interesting, especially in like an army that like is already getting like 1 new model per rally or whatever with the because they're very low wound count. And then also you can make them a wizard, like just make them a wizard. It's kind of cool, like fast mobile wizard with a lot of wounds. Yeah, I don't know. It's too bad. Yeah. Like we weren't seeing a lot of black coaches like that. Obviously you're saying that like we're starting to see them, which is kind of, interesting. What about Kurdos?
No commands tech is interesting and good, I think. I forget how many points he is. He is, let's see,
so 200-ish?
190.
190,
so
okay.
Doesn't seem horrible for
that.
Like any no commands tech is good, but now with the knowledge that they have their Nexus of Grief, which will be used for no commands.
I see.
Maybe you don't need him. So
right. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Right. Okay. Yeah. I kind of hope the wording for the all-out attack to be save characteristic, says Keith. Then it would affect Night Haunt. Are you playing Night Haunt, Keith? That's interesting. We have talked about it, Qual. If you have any thoughts, we'd be interested. Okay. Should we touch briefly on Gits? Sure. Why, sure.
Gits. So they
also got a new spell lore. Oh, right. Yeah. So, but that's only for Git Mob, right?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people were complaining about, though, is that the wolves don't have any red whatsoever. So that's kind of nice, I guess.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. It's kind of weird, though, that like they didn't like already like outside of this, but
yeah,
okay. Yeah. And then there's non-squid moonclad, add 1 to the control score. That's so boring. Right?
It's kind of neat where you put 1 foot on the objective with like 20 stabas and you have plus 19 control score. So
I must have misread that.
Yeah.
Add 1 to the control score of the target unit for each model.
That is not contesting. So it has to like be like kind of just barely touching.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So they're like they're literally incentivized to tiptoe onto the objective. What? So you could have like what is it? 39 control score? So crazy.
Yeah.
What a silly
sitting on the other side.
It's so dumb. Yeah, I love it. Okay. And I mean, they did get basically like the sun lore instead of the moon lore effectively for their... do you think people are going to switch to the lore of Frazzle legit? Yeah. They're legit, Carson.
Yeah, because I think that was definitely a complaint that some people had. And then all of the Git spells in the other lore, I think, go off on a 7. So these ones being a little more reliable is kind of nice.
Right.
Being able to retreat whenever is pretty nice with no mortal wounds. The +2 move characteristic is basically like a spell that gives you Field Sergeant, which is pretty good. But it doesn't apply to Trogs, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then the Gaze of Glare Face is a really good spell, where you pick a unit within 18 inches that can't run, or they can't use run abilities and have the range characteristic of ranged weapons is really good.
That's crazy. It's an 18-inch range.
Yeah, so like if you're going against someone who's got like Bliss Barb Archers, like this is like an anti-Slanesh spell for sure.
Right.
But it's also like if you know that something is going to be redeploying further away from you, you can make decisions in your turn, basically saying like, you can't use run abilities, so you can't redeploy. So I'm just
Right.
going to run at you and charge you.
Right.
So that's really nice.
But like the shooting range on stuff. So it's wait, is it how long does it last? Yeah, to the start of your next turn. So like if you're having the range on any shooting weapon, which is they have like really reduced ranges in AoS 4, like everything's super short. Like warp fire throwers would have a range of 5 inches. 5 inches. Like you're just not gonna, you won't get to shoot them. You don't get to shoot them because you just redeploy out of the way. Like that's crazy. Oh, disgusting.
Yep. It's pretty good.
Very good.
Then the Loon Smasher Fanatics, they basically traded Strike First for like a charge, I guess.
Right.
Like a charge ability. They don't have to end in combat, but they should because they don't count as having charged, though I think that's going to change.
You think that's going to change? Like, so you originally had like an interpretation of like what you could do with this.
Yeah.
And then you kind of figured out that it didn't work like that, much to Ledivicus's sadness, right?
Yep.
But you think that they're going to basically say, like, now what was the tech again that you came up with? I can't remember now.
So basically, it was that you would get a quasi strike first in that you would use this 2d6 charge ability, and you move slightly out of combat with something.
Yeah.
And then because you're not in combat with them, if that unit hasn't charged, they won't be able to get a fight activation. Therefore, you can just step into combat because you charged and then fight them first.
Right.
So, and that's really good for messing with, like, I don't know. I keep saying seize the center. It's going to be gone when this is when this is actually in play. But like, there's going to be something like that probably where it's a positional based tactic that you really don't want to get, smacked in a certain position. Yeah.
Well, we know we're getting named objectives.
Yep.
So, like.
Yeah, and this could be used to let you. You don't have to end in combat. So it'd be like you pop out within 3 inches, then you move 2d6 inches. Onto some objective that your opponent didn't. It's basically like a counter charge where you don't actually have to end in combat, which is really good. And you effectively get +3 to the counter charge because you're popping out within 3 inches of a stabbers or shooters unit.
I see. And the reason that this doesn't get the quasi strike first out if by lining up outside of 3 inches is because it doesn't have the core charge move.
No, it's because at the end of the core charge ability, it says this unit counts as having charged. And this doesn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then the key thing for being able to use a fight ability, you can use a fight ability if you are in combat or you have charged that turn.
Charged. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Huh. Okay. And are you taking Spore Splatta Fanatics, or are they still... they still not the lesser of the two?
They seem neat. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked into them too much, but they seem neat.
I feel like you could take them, right? And like they've got a decent attack profile, right? And then like if you're playing the control game, you know what I mean? You can poop them out and then just make like your unit of Moon Clan guys like more defensive, right? Because they're just...
Yeah, actually, I do like them because the end of the turn pinning that you can do.
Yeah,
it's at the end of any turn.
Yeah.
So you can take your turn and then just like walk into combat with your opponent and just like mess up their turn. So
well, exactly. It just says this unit can move. Oh wait, but then when do you pop them out? Or they don't hide? Oh, they don't hide.
They don't hide. So.
Oh, I misunderstood. I see. But yeah, you could just kind of position them. I see. Yeah, and then just move 2d6 and yeah.
Yeah. Fabian in the chat says that Madigan just says that they forgot to add the charge qualifier.
Oh, okay.
That should be added in the FAQ.
Thanks for telling us, Fabian. That's interesting. It does seem like that was because it has like the charge keyword in there, so it did feel like that was like the intention, but like you never know. Like anyone who's been around long enough and has seen the way that sometimes these FAQs fall, there's no sure thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. And Devin mentioned combine that with the pile and stuff. So basically they're giving you like a lot of movement shenanigan tech
yeah,
in Gits. Because you combine that with like the Dankold Trogoth, which can move 6 inches in any, or maybe it's just the enemy movement, or sorry, combat phase.
okay,
They don't actually have to be
in
in
combat.
combat to do that. So
Wow,
they just like, and it just happens. You can just
wow,
walk them 6 inches into combat. You can be like tagging things in really weird ways. So it's almost like combat phase and end of the turn, like murderlust shenanigans
right,
to like really mess with your opponent's plans throughout the game, which is cool. I think
yeah.
destruction needs an army like that. So
Absolutely. And like, out of phase movement, super, super strong. Like arguably one of the strongest things you can do or be able to do. So yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then should we touch on Flesh Eater Courts? I actually didn't get to look at this at all. I don't know. Oh, they got monstrous traits. Good for them. How nice. I want a reason to take. Revered Monstrosity. Add 1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made with companion weapons by other friendly, non-unique Flesh Eater Courts monsters. So basically, it's a reason to take Terrorgeist again and zombie dragons.
Yep.
Cool. I like that. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of this unit's companion melee weapons. No, I'm going to take the other one. Thanks. I guess if you're only bringing 1, then I can see it. But yeah. Huh. Wow. Healed 2d3 is also pretty good, to be honest. But yeah. Wow. Okay. And then I think the main thing that they lacked before was battle formations. So pick a friendly Serfs unit that did not charge this turn and is in combat to use this ability, then pick an enemy unit in combat with the Serfs unit. So basically if they get charged or if they're in combat, the target cannot make pile-in moves. Jeez Louise, that's crazy good.
yeah, it's really good.
But you only get to do that. Oh, it costs a command point.
Yeah,
Still
really good.
still exceptionally good. Yeah. That did not charge. I see. Wow. And the reason that they put on that thing is so that people can't like just tag the corner and then be super annoying about it. And I think that's a good idea, but still really good. Yeah. Okay. And then the Blessings of the Chalice. Friendly Flesh Eater Courts heroes have 5 up if they have destroyed a unit this battle. I don't think that's like
Neat, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, and I feel like it only kind of works on like the big heroes anyway, or like certain like the Vargeist can maybe do it. Or wait, Vargeist? Not Vargeist, sorry. What's his name? Vargulf. Like he might be able to do it, or obviously the Lord on Terrorgeist could probably do it, but like, yeah, I don't know. And then what did they rewrite? A Born Ghoul King on foot and the Gore Warden. Those are 2 great choices, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. Anything you want to note about these guys?
I don't honestly remember what they
Fair,
changed.
yeah. Okay.
So
the Ghoul King, everything looks the same up here. And then I guess the passive is the new thing. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by other friendly non-monster Flesh Eater Courts heroes while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. In addition, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of this unit's melee weapons for each other friendly. Whoa! To a maximum of +3, but you could have them on 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 2 or possibly 2 rend if they're going into a hero. That's interesting. Makes them just into like this little smash guy. And then if this unit would be destroyed before removing it from play, friendly non-unique Flesh Eater Courts units wholly within 12 inches of this unit become enraged until the start of the next turn. Melee weapons used by friendly enraged units have crit auto wound on a 5 up. So you could like throw him around with a bunch of serfs, you know what I mean? And they're just getting like a massive amount of attack with auto wounding on 5s. And then if he dies, or if he dies, and if not, you're buffing other. He's kind of interesting. The Gore Warden is where I really was hoping that they were going to do something with, but I don't know. I haven't got a chance to read this. While this unit is within the combat range of friendly knights units. Okay, so that's what are they called? Morbeg and then the Crypt Horrors and the Crypt Flayers, right? This unit has a 5-up ward with its. This one has a ward 5+, and its Gory Talons and Fangs have charge +1 damage. That's kind of cool. So you can rock around with them, moving at the same pace, and then Swooping Descent. Remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up more than 9 inches from enemy units. Wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge. Within 3 inches of an objective you do not control. Within 3 inches of an objective, do not. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's an interesting piece of like objective grabbing tech,
right?
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
because it's wholly within 6 inches of the
turn.
battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
wholly
they
within
just
6 inches of the edge of the battlefield, or within 3 inches of an objective. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they move outside of the range in their turn, which they're liable to do, as like if you don't remember that he's got this, then it's just like, oh, hi, sorry, ending your turn.
Yoink.
Suck. Because that's like basically putting them on the objective. Wow. And it's not wholly within, so they don't have to be wholly within that circle. They just have to be within that circle somewhere. They just have to be touching that circle. That's rad. I'm so glad. Like he's one of the coolest. He's maybe the coolest new model that they came out with. Actually, no, he's not. Not even close. Usharan.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Usharan's up here and then everything else down here, but he might be number 2. Anyway, super cool. I love it. Don't touch FEC. The madness is contagious. How would you know that, Keith? Cool. Okay. Thank you to everyone. If you have any questions for Carson about any of this stuff, he's the guy to ask. Don't forget, you can also join the Discord. Link in the description below. And as I am terrible at promoting this channel, as is my good friend Carson here, if you guys would like to take pity on us, or if you're enjoying the channel, etc., please consider liking, subscribing, and or leaving a comment. Also, I did want to mention, people might not see this or hear this, but do you like for the people watching right now and for people watching in the future, do you like it when we talk about these exciting new rules that come out? You know what I mean? Like, what do you like to listen to? Because like, I kind of want to get an idea. Yeah. Like sometimes we do list review shows. I think variety is key, but like we're going to be buried in like 7 days of rules for like the next like almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
and then the GHB is going to come out. And
right.
It's going to be a lot of stuff.
And then shit's going to be even crazier by then. Yeah. And then we're going to have a bunch of points changes and stuff when the GHB comes out. Fabian just likes to listen to Carson's voice. Does Carson like Warhammer? I don't know. I don't really care.
No.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't care.
Not really.
Like, yeah, but you agreed to do this podcast, so this is where you live now.
Well, that's because you pay me $7,000 every week to do it.
Yeah. I've really got to start paying you. Yeah. I think I owe you like
you owe me a lot of money.
$4.87 million or something, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's never going to see the money. What?
Yep.
Dave the Bunny.
Shout out to Dave the Bunny. Yep. Yeah. We'll get to that.
Okay. So, Carson was in Australia for a week.
Yep.
You didn't even start to take the bait there. That was insane.
I was in Wiener, Australia. That's where I was.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I hear they have good wieners there.
Great wieners.
Yeah.
Big and
Moving
thick.
right along.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the pictures you sent to me?
Yeah. Well, I can do like a little
the imager pictures. Where should I? What should
the
I pull
imager
up?
pictures are just like the best armies, and that's something to just kind of like look at while we talk about other stuff, I guess.
Okay.
Those are like the army paint award armies, basically.
Right. So I'll start with the okay. Here, one second. Where is it?
I guess it's just like a quick recap as well.
Boink.
Not last week, but the week before, I was in Austria for Worlds, which is the like big fancy like worldwide teams tournament that every country sends like the best of the best. They put together a team of 8, and those 8 players go and represent their country by playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar at a teams format. We did pretty well this year. I think we did better than Canada's ever done this year, which is awesome. Also, thank you very much, Keith. For 5 memberships. That's amazing.
5. That's so generous, dude.
Yeah.
Scotty says, I think he says, what day do you suspect that the new in? And Alex, it's Saturday. You can't set him up like that.
Yeah.
I
Too
suspect
easy.
it'll come out when we run out, like when we run out of armies to come out. So basically, like, yeah. So in about 3 weeks, I guess. Yeah. But or a little less than 3 weeks. Thank you again, Keith. Extremely, extremely generous. We love you. And it's too bad you didn't get to see Carson when he was in Australia.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. A little bit more information on the Team Canada. Our coach was Carl Ong. The captain was Ridge Hanna. I never know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Then Fabian Barbus was the assistant coach, and he put in a huge amount of work, like helping us prep. So thank you very much. And then the rest of the team was myself, Michael Sabetti, Devin Cortman, Jake Seguin, Frederick Bergano, Jordan from Season of War, Dom Elson from the Prairies, and is that everyone? Oh God, I've lost count.
Is Jordan the only one not wearing a jersey in this picture?
I think so. Yeah.
Jordan.
I said 10 people. And there's 2 people that wouldn't have been actually playing. Yeah, that's right. Okay, good.
Okay.
I think I'm good. And if I forgot someone, I'm so sorry.
8 people per team.
8 people per team, and then we basically had like 2 additional people, a coach and assistant.
I see.
Also, dog is barking now when I'm going on a huge log, which is great. 1 second.
No problem. No problem. I would just like to say that everyone here is extremely handsome, and control your blood sugar levels. Whoa! Holy moly!
Yeah, almost hit my face on the camera. So I guess without and the tournament was held in a little mountain town in Austria called Leoben, which is about a 2-hour train ride outside of Vienna. So I guess we can start with the pictures if you want.
Devin says, Carson, how could you forget?
Yeah. There's 1 PNW person in Team Canada, Alex. And next year, maybe there's 2.
Ooh.
Or maybe 3. You never know. Yeah. You never know. What photo are you on now?
I'm on the next one in the list. It's looks like the terminals at the airport.
Yes, so
Departs.
This is my view at 3:45 a.m. on Sunday, the day that I leave. Because the rest of the team is pretty much in Eastern Canada, except Dom, who's kind of in the middle.
Right.
Despite everyone saying Saskatchewan is Western Canada, it's not. So I was just waiting for the stuff to open, and it took a while. And the next picture is my reaction to seeing that the terminals were closed until like 4 a.m. or something. Like, I got here for this. Could you? The next photo is seeing the beautiful mountains of British Columbia slowly fade into the distance.
Oh, neat.
As I fly away.
Ew, I think I see Richmond. Just kidding.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah.
Take that time.
Then I met up with a bunch of the other Team Canada people in Toronto, and we flew from Toronto to Vienna directly. So that's Dom on the right, Carl in the middle, and myself on the left with a baseball cap line on my forehead, which is a frequent theme.
Yeah.
The next picture, I think, is when we first land, and it's like maybe 2 hours after we decided to go get some beers. That's in Vienna, and Dom is just like drinking it as if it's containing his life force, which is great.
Because it's true.
Yeah, and then after that is the first meal that we had there, which was really good. Really, really good. Some sausage and
yeah. Pat says 3:45 at YVR. Welcome to my life, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those sausages. Damn.
Yeah. All the food is amazing.
That is. Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
Real good. The next picture was I was trying to figure out like what I should put as like a picture of a landmark, but I decided to take a picture of Dom taking the picture of a landmark
Of a landmark,
instead.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that would be
Excellent.
more important.
Mhm.
Then after that is a picture of a strudel that I had at what I found out was like one of the fanciest places in Vienna, Sacher, I think it's
Okay.
called.
Okay.
And then after that is like a little cappuccino that I got there, which is really good. It
Is it
says the name of the place
are
on
you
there.
mispronouncing it? Is it Vienna sausage? Sausage? No.
What? The,
Vienna sausages? You know, like the.
no, it's strudel. What are you talking about?
No, I know. Sorry, never mind. Never mind. The strudel looks amazing. The strudel looks amazing.
It was really good.
What kind of strudel was it?
Apple.
Oh, apple. Nice. Oh, you might have said that, but
No, I didn't.
I blanked as soon as I saw the strudel. So
Yeah.
that cream, my God,
Yeah.
my God.
It was
Okay.
good. It was like it wasn't sweet, so you know it was like real whipped cream too. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, they do that really well. Like, I know it's neither here nor there, but like it seems like in other countries they know how to do that more. Like, I know like you don't think of Japan when you think of like cream. You know what I mean? And like cream filled stuff. But like it's so much better than over here. It's not even close. Like anyway. I'm sure there are places you can get it here, but anyway, putting that aside. And then you got a very fancy coffee with what looks like a thistle drawn in there.
The coffee was always really good there. They have like a specific style of coffee there called melange, which is like kind of like a cappuccino, but it's
Is that
more
is
like
that something
hot.
that you like share with multiple people?
No,
No?
No.
Okay. Okay. It's not a
very
menage a coffee. Isn't that what they
No.
call it? Okay.
no.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all the coffee was really good there. They definitely know what they're doing. The next picture after that is Sabetti, Carl, Dom, and myself hanging out on a rooftop bar, which is pretty cool, despite the angle of the photo not showing that it's on a rooftop. I promised that it was.
Carl flipping the gang signs. I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
approve.
that's right. The next two pictures are just like or three pictures actually, are the
Museum.
military history museum, which was only
Neat.
€3, which was crazy.
Okay.
And they had like so much cool stuff there. It was incredible.
You know what though? In Austria, I can kind of see them valuing like history a little more than we do.
Yeah, yeah,
Europe
a
in
little
general.
bit.
Yeah.
More food on the next picture, which was really good. We went to an Orthodox church after that, and then we went to like a big cathedral.
I'm just kind of slowly clicking through. I'm at the tank right now.
Yeah.
And now. Oh wow! Look at that meal.
Yeah,
What? Sorry. What was this meal?
that was called a Kellerplatte, which was
Oh.
basically a mix of a whole bunch of different meats. And then
Is-
they did this like pancake. It's almost like pancakes where you have like bread that's been like torn up and then like covered in milk and then baked again, and then so it's really good. And then sauerkraut and
Sauerkraut. I was gonna say, yeah. I bet that's sauerkraut. Apparently, it's super good for you. Hey,
Yeah,
it's like a
I bet.
super fiber. Yeah.
yeah.
Same with
And then
kimchi.
obviously the beer is all really good too. Yeah, the Schneider Weisse, which is really
I can,
really lovely.
Yep. And then we're at the church here. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Like really
Orthodox
beautiful.
church.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like
you
look
just
at
go
the
into random
ceiling
buildings and
and-
it would look like that everywhere. And you're like,
Jeez.
cool.
Yeah. Really,
You never
is,
see that in Vancouver.
No, you feel the old world kind of. It's the same, in other places other than basically if you go outside of like the Americas, that's where it is. You know what I mean? Like you can literally go any other country and they've got like stuff that's thousands of years old or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, we don't have any of that. And then oh wow, look at that other one. This is like a cathedral.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Huge cathedral in the center of Vienna. I have more pictures, but I tried to keep it like condensed. This is the condensed version. There's so much to do in Vienna. It's incredible. Like I wish, like it's the first city I've gone to in the past like 15 years where I'm like, I need to go back and see more of it. Like it was really
cool,
incredible. So
cool.
I really
I've
wanna
never
go
been
back.
to Austria, so that's pretty dope.
Lovely
Oh,
country.
and you saw Das Phantom der Oper.
Yep. So I worked with someone in Vienna, and his wife, who I also work with, works at a production company for this theater in Vienna, and she scored us some tickets to Phantom of the Opera, and like incredible seats and an incredible show. Like there's like a full on like mechanical rotating set with
Wow.
like pyrotechnics and like obviously amazing singers and actors and stuff like that.
Have you ever
Um,
seen Phantom of the Opera before?
I have it, and it was entirely in German, but there were subtitles.
Yeah, yeah.
But the problem was we were given the VIP seats, which are like front and center, like you can see the pores on the actor's face, kind of
Oh,
thing.
good. Yeah.
However,
You can see their stage
subtitles-
makeup.
no, the
Okay.
subtitles are on the sides of the stage, so you'd
Yeah.
see something exciting happen, and you'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And like, yeah, trying to figure out
That's so good.
what actually happened. And then there's like this giant like chandelier that just like drops down because it's a key part of the story, and it like drops down like literally right above your head, and you can see like the like metal faces on the bottom and stuff, and it was like shooting out sparklers and like
Jeez.
yeah, it was super cool. I remember like there's no better review I can think of than Dom, who is a plumber from Saskatchewan, walking out afterwards being like, "That was bitching."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
He's
it
not
was
wrong. Yeah.
yeah. I already really love musicals, but this was just like, I mean, seeing a musical in Vienna with VIP seats, it's like, come on, like it's great.
I've never done that before, but I like musicals as well. So I like good call.
Yeah.
And then some
That was a
random
lot of fun.
train tracks.
Yeah, so that's
See.
us leaving Vienna.
Oh,
Really beautiful city. We spent like 2.5 days there, and yeah, I wish I could have spent more time, but I guess we have to go play Warhammer. So now we're on our way to Leoben.
this
So we're
sucks.
taking a train out, and then the next photo is kind of like another shot from the train of like the little town in the mountains and stuff like that.
God
It's really
dang,
nice.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the picture after that, I think, is like us kind of walking around in Leoben. It's this like really cute little town with like a nice little central area, and there actually ended up being like a Labor Day beer festival
Oh,
with like
cool.
a marching band and stuff. It's like if someone was like, "What do you expect to encounter when you go to Austria?" It's like exactly that. People in lederhosen dancing around, like
Yeah.
drinking beer. Like it was amazing.
And someone's like, "Don't be racist." And you're like, "But they're everywhere." Yeah.
They're right here.
Yeah, they're right here. I was proven right by history.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, that's sick. And then it looks like some kind of, they gave an award to a random building in the,
Yeah, that was the
town.
best building award.
Yeah.
It's part of Worlds.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice building. Yep.
Um,
And then after that was my breakfast and hairy legs.
ooh.
So that was the kind of stuff I was just eating every day, which was great.
Just like meat and cheese. That looks awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, I just decided to snap a picture of the Team Canada jerseys, which looked really nice this year. They were
They
really,
did.
I mean, they look nice every year.
They looked terrible last year. I don't know what they were like, but
Yeah. Horrible.
definitely. Yeah. I think the dice this year were, mwah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have taken pictures of those. They had moose on them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then a picture of the back. We had tons of sponsors this year, which thank you very much to everyone that decided to sponsor. I know Dudes of Sigmar and Party at the Yelp Points sponsored our club. Warp Dice sponsored Taps Games, and most importantly, Dave the Bunny sponsored.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
which
not
is
a.
my dad's-
I'm, oh, really?
my dad's jewelry company.
What the? That's so sick. I didn't know
Yeah,
your dad has a
and-
jewelry company. That's crazy. I'm just learning about this now.
If you go to the next picture,
Uh-huh.
that's Dave right there. That's Dave the Bunny
Dave the Bunny.
right there.
Is that the
repping
name of his
Canadian
jewelry
colors.
company?
It is, yeah.
Oh, sick.
And basically, like the chant for Canada at the start was "Beavers up, Moose down." Is like the coach would say "Beavers up," and then we go "Moose down," and that was like our huddle chant, basically.
Okay.
After I think game 2 or 3, we're like, "This isn't working for us, you guys. Like,
Yeah,
we got to
yeah.
change something else." And then Carl just goes like, "All right, everybody, Dave the Bunny on 3."
Yeah, that's
1, 2,
absolutely
3,
the right
Dave the
call.
Bunny.
Wow.
And supposedly the Slovenian captain like walked up to Devin after we
Yeah.
did that. He's like, "What did you guys say?" And he just goes, "Dave the Bunny." He's like, "Oh," and just leaves.
No explanation, asked nor given. Yeah, I like it. But that's sick because like your dad is like, so like the more money people put in, the higher up they go on the logo, right?
Yeah.
And your dad is like number 4 on here. That's really awesome, man.
Yeah.
What a good guy.
I think he would have been higher, but because it was like the text looked too much like someone's name.
Oh, interesting. But
Yeah.
he's got his own row, so
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
dang, like that's even more impressive. Wow. Shoot. Sick. Okay.
Yeah.
And then nice. Is that
And
is
that's-
that the
that's
official
Carl.
Dave? Oh,
Oh wait, sorry. What do you?
I'm
You
looking at a big bunny.
Yeah, that's Dave. That's what I was
Okay.
saying.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant like you were referring to the back of the jersey. I had it on the back of the jersey where it showed
Gotcha.
that. Yeah.
No. This is Dave. This is the real Dave. His
This
name is
is-
actually Dave, and he's actually a bunny. So
Oh. Like, is that a pet bunny?
yeah.
Oh,
My
shoot.
parents' pet bunny. His name is Dave.
I thought he was a stuffed animal. He didn't look real
No,
to me.
I know he's immaculate.
He's got like a
I don't
beard.
blame you. Yeah. The best part is I'm allergic to Dave.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I
Oh,
can
shit.
see him, but I know he's there, and I love him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Nice. And that's Carl getting a zoom lens of someone's bag.
Yep.
Is he trying to
I
like
don't know.
see what the number is on someone's lock?
Maybe.
You know? Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
what the context of this was. I just thought it was a funny picture, so enjoy that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Then after that, we've got full team photo. Obviously Fabian's not there because Fabian was too busy getting married, like a loser.
He got married. He got married in Austria.
No, he got married in France because he's French,
Oh,
but he's a loser because he wasn't there.
there you
Loser. Anyway, next photo.
go. Okay.
Yeah,
Moving right along.
is at the very end we decided to take a picture with Team Denmark, and then you can see Bobo on the side as well, on the left side, which is fun. And yeah, it also just shows like how big the event space was. Like it was pretty huge.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. Good times indeed. I didn't take a huge amount of photos during, but I figured we can kind of talk through the rounds and look at the BCP as well, which would be kind of fun.
Sounds good. To me.
And then the last picture,
Yep.
diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Yep. I think
And
we
that's
can all
it.
agree. I like it. I like it a lot.
That's it.
That is it. Fabian says, "Hey now." Hey now, what, Fabian? Fabian. Keith thought that the bunny was a miniature donkey.
Well, you're wrong.
Should we show I've got the AoS Worlds like army pictures if you want.
We can't. I figure we can kind of talk through the rounds on BCP. I can send you a link
sure.
to that again if you want.
Yep.
Um,
I'm sorry. Did you send it to me earlier?
I did.
Okay. Apologize. I can
guess I
actually.
can kinda-
I can just find it on here.
I got it.
Ding
I got it for you
dong.
there. So Canada this year, I would say put in like an unprecedented amount of prep compared to what I witnessed in previous years anyway. Not to say that the previous years didn't do like well and didn't try or anything like that. Like obviously they put a ton of work in, but this year it felt like really like, and a big thanks is to Fabian and Carl really pushing us hard. Just a crazy amount of like making sure that, you know, if we were taking chances on a list, we were making sure that like it was proven and that, you know, there's a reason why we were doing these things. We did scrims with a whole bunch of teams. So we did scrims with Australia, with Denmark, with Wales, and with Portugal. And we won all of them beforehand, which was kind of crazy. And then in person, we did a scrim with Team America, which is the team that ended up going on to win the entire event. And it was a 83-77 score, which is like super, super close.
Yeah.
That's like,
Very close.
you know, one bad priority, it decided kind of close.
Right.
Which is really good. We felt really great about the team. We had, so the 8 players we had, basically kind of like 4 spread map people and 4 dense map people kind of. So Devin was on Corn. Actually, we can look at the roster and check out our whole thing. If you type in Canada.
Canada.
So you see everyone there. So you've got myself, who's on Ogre Maw Tribes, which is like the big 36 gluttons and 60 noblars list, my narrative list that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Just having fun, telling stories to my opponents.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got Devin, who had...
How many times did you win out of 8 games?
It was 6 games.
Oh, 6 games. Sorry. How many times did you win out of
7
6
games if you count the scrim that we did beforehand.
No, let's go with 6.
So 5 out of 6 games I won.
Okay. With a narrative list, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Devin was running like a really mortal spam Blades of Corn list. Dom had his 2-drop Slaves to Darkness 20 Chosen list. Fred was running like 18 Morbegs and Usharan. Jake had like a really weird list that ended up doing really well for us, which was like 20 Dark Riders and Command Core and a bunch of other stuff as well, but no Hammerers, which is neat for Cities of Sigmar. Jordan ran a whole bunch of Eels and an Eidolon of the Sea, and then Sabetti was a 1-drop 12 Palador Krondis list, and Ridge was 70 Vesticores. So that's kind of like what we were dealing with, and we kind of we're trying to have answers to things that we're predicting was going to be there. So I guess we can go to round 1, which was very thematic, I think, in the pairings.
Oh, pairings. Thank you. Cool. So you went up against Team Wales, right?
And
Team Wales is versus Team Belgium. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, I click on pairings.
You can type in Canada.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah, but you might be on round 6.
Canada.
Yeah.
I am on round 6. You are right.
Yeah.
There we go. Round 1 versus Team Greece.
Yep. You can already see the outcome, which is a spoiler. But last year, Greece was also Canada's round 1. So it was kind of like all right, it's time for revenge. It's time.
Did they win last time?
Yeah, Greece beat Canada last year.
Wow.
But this year...
You guys did not lose.
No.
Sure didn't lose.
So this year, we definitely got revenge. So there's actually a cap on how many points you can score, because they don't want it to be that you score like, I don't know, 150 points against a team just because there was such a huge power imbalance, and then that carries you for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
So they cap it at 120.
Okay.
Wow. So
So
we capped Greece, which was
jeez.
Sounds really good. However,
Right.
you kind of don't want to cap someone immediately, because then you're immediately thrown into a pit of sharks with all of the other teams that capped people.
Right.
So there were 4 teams that capped other teams. It was us, France, the US, and Czech Republic.
Jeez, and 2 of those 3, or 2 of the 3 other teams were podiuming. Wow.
Yeah. And so we kind of like, we were definitely very happy after playing against Greece, but we were just like, shit, like it's time to like put our big boy boots on and like actually face someone big. So I think like there is probably a small hope that like maybe we get paired into Czech Republic instead of like the US or France or something like that. But spoilers, if you go to round 2, we paired into France. Which France is consistently like a top 3 team every year. I think they come second place a lot the past couple of years.
But they've won a few.
No, they haven't won.
Oh, really?
Worlds. Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? That's crazy. I could have
French guy
sworn
won
they
the first WCW.
Oh, I think that might be what it is. Yeah. Wires crossed. Jeez.
Yeah, France has never won Worlds teams.
Oh, okay.
But they've I think they've always been podium.
Wow.
So we're like, okay, it's this is going to be a big one.
Yeah. No
so we had a whole bunch of matchups here that were like, I think we felt like iffy about the pairings after we kind of went into France.
Right.
But I think we fought like really, really well. It was I mean, spoilers, you see that it was 82-78, which is basically as close as it can possibly be,
right,
without being a tie. Which is like, this result is essentially literally one person like spikes one hit roll, one person wins one prio, one person does one thing, and then it flips to Canada, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So just like that close to being able to beat France. And it was really interesting playing against them, because like at the end of the round, like as we were all finishing up our games, the French coach was like coming over to my table and like barking at the guy I was playing against, being like, I need you to score as many points as you can get. I need you to score as many points as you can get. And we knew that the mood going to this game was France, like, sweet, we matched up against Canada. This is going to be an easy win. or this is going to be like not that big of a deal, right? Because like historically, Canada's not done super well, but they really. Oh, apparently Fabian just proved me wrong. France won, but very early AoS when it was like 6 teams. Okay, my bad.
Okay.
They were genuinely panicking at the end, because I think when it came down to, there was one game left to report, and the score was 70-70.
Jeez.
Yeah, and we're all just like standing around this one table being like, what's going to happen? Like, it's a really close game, and it ended up being Ridge's game, which is a 12-8, which is basically the minimum you can score without being tied on victory points.
Wow.
So it was like a super, super big nail biter. And at the end, the French coach had like very good things to say about Canada, how like we earned that victory, and how surprised they were, and like how we did. And then if you speak French, you can go to the French War Game stream and see them kind of talking about it the whole time. But
Cool.
I think a lot of it was like overestimating some matchups that they had. Specifically, like I know mine, they had rated Nurgle green into ogres, and that was one where like, no, actually it's good for ogres. Like,
no kidding.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
And that happened again later in the tournament. But yeah, that was just a game where it's like people always underestimate. I think it's a frequent theme during the event is people were underestimating my list and also Jake's list. My list because people were like, it's just gluttons, and then Jake's list because probably they just don't understand it, because it doesn't have like hammers or dark shards or the normal things that you usually see in a city's list. It's just like a bunch of dark riders and Talia and command corps and stuff like that. So
I see.
But yeah, really, really well fought this round. The mood after this was like, you'd think it would be low because we lost, but we were like,
No.
holy shit. Like we, like,
Yeah.
it was like, we were elated that we
Imagine
such a hard fight.
Imagine Canada playing France in soccer and then like coming really close, like, you know, losing by 1 goal. You'd be on top of the world. You wouldn't be. It just means you can go toe to toe with anyone, really.
Yeah.
So
Sigmar Scotty says, was there any significant language barriers / issues? If so, how did you work that out?
that's a great question, by the way. That's a great
absolutely.
question. Yeah.
So anytime there's an international tournament like this, the rule is that everything on the table and everything between a player and their coach, or captain rather, has to be in English. So all communication has to be in English. So there's like there's a baseline of like, you need to be able to speak a certain amount. There's definitely sometimes where it's like a struggle. Especially for me, I think where like I like to banter and like joke during games.
Right.
And sometimes I'll say something and just see a completely blank expression on my opponent's face. I'm like, moving along. Didn't land. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. Yeah. What made me feel good at the end, because one of the refs came up and he's just like, you're always so nice in all of your games. You're always like, every time I come by your table, you're smiling and like telling jokes and stuff like that. And that like, it made me feel good, because there are definitely some opponents where like nothing was landing. I was like, all right. Like,
yeah.
I'll just keep this straight then. Sounds good. Yeah, but yeah, this is a really good round. We felt really good about it. And this kind of set the stage for, so Canada was 1-1 exiting this round. However, we scored the maximum amount of points that we possibly could in round 1. And then in the second round, we scored the maximum amount of points that we possibly could without winning.
Right.
Which means we're always going to be on the top of whatever bracket that we're in.
Right.
So it kind of started this like, every single round, Canada was just like the crab at the bottom of the bucket, clawing back the people in the bracket above us, essentially, because we were always pairing up into the next bracket. So if we were 1-1, we were playing someone who was 2-0. If we're and we were 1-2, we were playing someone that was 2-1, right?
Jeez.
Like it was like constantly facing people in the next bracket above us, just because we did so well the first 2 rounds. Wow. Yep. He says jokes and slang usually don't translate to other countries' English. Yeah, not. I realize that. I'm aware.
It's weird how some things can and do. It just depends a lot. Like, you know, like there's no more similar language to Japanese than Korean, but their humor is totally different. Like the jokes, the jokes I would like get, even though when I didn't speak Korean, I would get them. even when I did get them in Japanese, because the humor is just like the humor is just totally different. A lot of it's cultural, like jokes are like jokes are the last thing that you understand in a language. So like, because to understand a joke, you need to know the language, syntax, like all the normal linguistic stuff, but you need to know like pop culture, you need to know history, you need to know idioms, you need to know like crazy random stuff that you just wouldn't otherwise. So, and by the way, Dan said, Dan, friend of the channel, awesome guy, said, insane result, amazing showing. Truly for me, nothing is a better showing of Canada's rise and the outcome of this matchup. Then take into account that they have the French Academy to train at. Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Yeah. Yeah. France has like a whole academy/federation that you basically pay a membership to be a part of. And then they have like a huge amount of infrastructure. They take things very seriously.
That's so cool. I wish we had something like that.
I wish so too, but we have a lot less people and we're far more spread out. So it's a little harder to.
The second largest country in the world.
Yeah.
And a population the size of California for our entire country. Yeah. It doesn't really work. But like also it could be online though now. Like that's the thing. We don't.
And it
you know what I mean?
Like a lot of our all of our prep was through Tabletop Simulator.
Right.
Like, just like squeezing in games whenever we possibly could, hopping onto calls, talking about matchups and things like that. So that's where I think our team this year really excelled. And I think that Jake, who was on the team, said it best afterwards, which is like, it didn't feel like a sports team going and like competing. It felt more like 8 friends like in it together to try and like do the best that we can. So there's really good synergy on the team this year. So props to Ridge and Fred and Carl for putting together a really awesome team.
That's the softest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oof. I'm about to say something. One more thing soft. France. One more soft thing. France typically has a pretty bad reputation when it comes to like.
In the past, there has been things at the WCW, the singles worlds, and exactly.
But I want to say that my opponent, Enzo Bussolini, which is the least French name I've ever heard, it was like very lovely to play against.
Cool.
Really, really great. Really friendly, really nice, and lots of like when concessions had to happen, it was really easy for both of us too.
Good.
Like I distinctly remember a moment where both of us were like he had forgotten a -1 to hit, and then basically he rolled it out on his own time, like re-rolled it, made sure that everything was okay. Like we talked through everything, it was fine. Like it was very like, I distinctly remember a moment too where I think he reminded me of something. He's like, hey, just this thing, let's go back and redo that. But here, I'm going to put it to my time so that we can do it properly and don't have to waste like your time on the clock. And I was like, perfect, that sounds good. So like just a really nice, accommodating person to play Warhammer against. Everything above board, really clean. So I appreciate that a lot. Obviously, I can't speak to the other 7 tables. I heard.
Well, it's hearsay.
All good things.
Yeah, like you heard good things. That's great. Like anytime there's like concerted effort to improve, especially I feel like in the this side of things, the sportsmanship type thing aspect of the hobby, it's really good to hear. But because I was going to say like you had a good time against Enzo here, but he's obviously Italian. So what does that even mean? If you didn't even hear other good things, then I would say it didn't count, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. Everyone.
And I think it's extremely important for like at the highest level of competitiveness, the first and most important thing isn't being competitive, actually. It's the integrity of the game.
Yeah.
And like
the
interaction that you have with the other person. Because if you win a game, the other person feels like they've kind of been had or they've been cheated, you didn't really win, right? Like you've kind of just tricked someone.
If someone feels that way, it doesn't mean it's true.
Sure, like, but it's actually really rare for someone to feel that way or express that they feel that way if it's unjustified, I find. I've only encountered like one time where that's happened in my entire time playing Warhammer.
I think that's probably less common at the like extreme competitive side of things. Cause like I've literally had it where I'm like, I move this far, I shoot this far, this is what my gun does, and then my opponent moves into that threat range, and then the next turn I move forward. This is like AoS 1, it's like a really old game. And then he's just like, what the hell? You know what I mean? I'm going like, I literally told you, you know what I mean? Like, you can't friggin' complain about this, man. Like, I literally told you all the information you needed to know. So like, so like feelings aside, like, I feel like you kind of know. You know what I mean? And like, but I totally agree with the sentiment for sure. Yeah. If you're playing gotchas, if you're doing anything like that, or of course, if you're cheating or doing something like that, then you didn't win. You literally didn't win. Like if you're cheating, then you didn't win. If you do like something that's like, that would have flipped the game on its head, in terms of a gotcha, you didn't win, you know?
Yeah, it's not a win, and it would be weird to do that sort of thing when no one is being paid to like win. In fact, you're paying to be here.
But you know what? Like we see it all the time in 40K, and we almost never see it in AOS, and I don't know why, but you know, yeah, the models are cooler and the community's better, and the rules are debatable, but yeah, man. Anyway, moving right along. So your next matchup was...
so this is on day 2. And like Spain. I said, the crabs at the bottom of the bucket. Spain was at the very bottom of the 2-0 bracket. And we're at the very top of the 1-1 bracket. So we're like, yoink. Let's try and keep you down there. So Spain, again, a very close round. This one was a little bit more of a heartbreak just because I think we went into it a little more confident after we played the French matchup. Right. But the way that the pairings were basically that I think we had like 1 or 2 limes, which is like a pretty good matchup, and then a whole bunch of yellows, which usually means like it's going to be close regardless of a win or loss. And the way that it ended up is you can kind of see like all of their wins are like 12, 12, 13, 12, 12, like a lot of really small wins, which just means that we had a whole bunch of predicted close matchups that just didn't flip in our favor. I see. Which is it's a little rough just because like 1 or 2 of those flips the other way and that brings us the round instead. Right. So like even my win was pretty close, 13-7.
That's quite close. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard the same sentiment pretty much all down the whole team, which was like, oh, if I won that one pry, I would change it to like a big win instead of like a small loss or a small win or something like that. So this is a pretty, I think this was like probably the low point of the event for us, where we're just like, damn, 2 losses in a row hurts, right?
Well, I didn't know you played Spain after that as well, and so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I've heard some things. Do you want to get into that later at the end, or what do you want to do?
No, we can talk about that now. Sure. And I'm not gonna like stoke flames, but there's a particular player on their team that was like brought up / caught doing some very not above board stuff,
like cheating, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the opponent that I had was mostly pretty much fine.
Okay. Pretty much fine. Doesn't sound like a great fine, but you know.
Like the game was fine until probably the very end, where like there was a little bit of like movement stuff and like dice maybe not being the correct number. But at that point, the game was mostly decided anyway, so it was like not a huge deal. But the one particular player was caught like straight up like gaslighting his opponents, essentially being like, no, this hero isn't dead, and just like changing the wound counter and being like, call a judge, or like pretending that they don't speak, or there's like a communication error or something like that. And yeah, that's something that you should definitely call out and needs to be, I think, addressed, or like keep an eye kept on for next year. And I think if there's anything to take away from it, is that if you do find yourself in a situation like this, next year, I know that in the pack, it's going to be, if you have to call a judge, you can pause the time. It doesn't have to be on your time.
Okay.
Just pause the time, call a judge, and talk it out instead of wasting a whole bunch of your time.
Right.
That's the big thing, I guess, because like that's one incentive not to call the judge is if you have to waste like 5 minutes of your time just tracking down a referee and then explaining your situation, that's really bad. But
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Like I heard that because they Spain ended up getting third, I think, and I believe I heard that they were booed, like the whole place.
not the whole place. There's some booing.
There was some booing. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. I mean,
But
that kind of like, so it wasn't just Team Canada.
No, I think there were
Like-
3 or 4 other teams that had very similar experiences. Which
I mean, if you guys had that negative of an experience, I can't, like, of course, they're not going to just do it against Canada for some reason, right? Like, yeah, like it's kind of, yeah, it's disturbing. Like, especially in AoS, like in 40K, I'd be like, okay, yeah, like, you know, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, but I just never heard of like any of this stuff, you know, in AoS before. I'm sure it exists to a certain extent, but like a whole team like this, and then it's like, you know, it's not even just like bad sportsmanship or like an unfun game, but like straight up cheating. It's like I don't know, like we need. That's like the one downside to AoS is because we don't really have this as much, so that we don't really have rules and like a system in place. Sometimes I think like if you get caught cheating, like it should be you get a 0. You know what I mean? And then if you get caught cheating again, I don't know, like you're out.
disqualified.
Yeah,
probably,
disqualified from the tournament and get noted,
so-
you know, like.
Yeah. The issue is, so I've talked to a lot of people about this, and there's a whole lot more that I could possibly say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know there's probably a lot of background stuff that you've heard that's more hearsay.
Yeah, exactly.
There's probably a ton of that stuff, but like,
the big thing I want to focus on is that we know for a fact that one of our players encountered like direct cheating with one of their players. We also know that, like, for instance, like Ridge said that his game against his opponent was like one of the best games he's ever played.
Wow,
really great.
Cool.
So it's not that
it's not
like,
the whole
every
team.
player from Spain is a huge cheater.
Right.
Cool. It's that there was like one problem person essentially. The issue that I heard from the judge/ref perspective is that when these things were happening, it wasn't that there was a judge that like directly saw the thing happen. It was that the same issue was called out and the judge was called over and like, well, I didn't see it happen, so I can't possibly know.
Yeah.
And then there are a whole bunch of other issues, hearsay things that I'm not going to say because it just spreads more rumors and stuff like that, where it wasn't directly brought to a judge's attention and it was more so just kind of bubbling up in the background and then exploded after the event. And you can't realistically assume that a judge is going to be able to do something retrospectively, right?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
I heard that like someone is considering using body cams or something next year. Is that real?
I mean,
who was that? Was that Team Canada? Oh, okay.
No, not Team.
Okay.
No.
Well, like there was that 40K guy who was caught cheating, and then he started taking a body cam to prove that he wasn't cheating after that. Like very famous player, really strong player too. So I wasn't sure if it was like, you know, Team Canada or even Team Spain, like, you know, because like, by the way, I wanted to point out Ridge played Alvaro Barbelas. I'm sure I butchered his name. And he had a great match, right? I just want to point out that Alvaro is the Skaven player.
You're right.
That's all I need to say, you know? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the takeaway here is that, like, as a community, we do have to have zero tolerance for cheating.
Yep.
But as players, we also have to be able to stand up to conflict and basically call over a judge when it's necessary to, like, portray information, right?
Absolutely.
So there's work needs to be done on both sides, I think. Where basically it's like consequences.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, I've heard that there's like a yellow card system or something like that. But if a yellow card is literally just a warning and it's like direct, you know, you seeing someone cheat, like that's not enough. Like it needs to be, you should probably lose the game if you're caught cheating. Just period, I think.
And honestly, like so Dan said if you need a body cam to be allowed to play Warhammer again, you should cop a lifetime ban. I actually like I was thinking something similar to this idea, right? to where it's like, okay, if one of your players is caught cheating, then that country just isn't invited next year for 1 year. And then that would get the team, like every team would be like, okay, guys, you can't cheat. You know what I mean? And like that way it'll basically like kind of force the teams to take some kind of responsibility for their own players. You know what I mean? Because they're being chosen by their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it should probably ramp up. I think like the first instance of it being caught, and it depends on how egregious it is.
I agree. But like,
because there's plenty of times where it's like, oops, I grabbed one more dice than I should have.
And everyone's done that. Like I've done it on camera on a freaking like live stream or like a recorded stream where people can like, they're watching me. Like I know they're watching me. We've got a big ass dice camera on there and we've worked hard to make it as clear and readable as possible. No one's going to like do that on purpose. You know what I mean? But everyone just makes those mistakes naturally. But like, yeah, like, but like but we need like clear cut. Like, it can't be like, yeah, it depends on the level, because then it kind of puts things in like this weird kind of nebulous way where you're trying to figure out what the punishments are for certain things. Like I think it needs to be pretty clear, whatever that is, you know, and it needs to be enough to incentivize people to not freaking cheat.
Yeah. I think it needs to be harsh on the local scale. I.e. like if you're caught cheating, it's an immediate like 15-0 or 20-0 or whatever you want to call it.
20-0, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're caught cheating again and the team hasn't done anything about it, it should probably lose you the round, or like even more points cheats of some kind, or points docks of some kind.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about like an entire country being banned for the next year, just because I agree with what Devin said. It seems harsh to punish a whole country just for one player, which is kind of what this was.
Oh, is it, it's only one known player on this team?
That's like the confirmed, everyone agrees upon thing.
Okay.
Is that there's like one problem player, essentially, right? So
but now as it sits right now, they're just like, well, it's just one guy. Like that's what they're saying. It's just one guy, guys. But like, okay, but then what's the punishment for the team? They're actually benefiting from this.
Their punishment should be like, again, retrospectively, we know that there wasn't a punishment, right?
Right. At all.
But I'm saying what there should, like, let's say like a 20-0 is a huge difference. So like, let's say, if the guy like won the game 12-8 or 13-7 or something, instead of getting that, their team now has 12 less points and your team now has 20 more points. Like that's a huge, that'll probably swing around no matter what. Like against most teams who are relatively evenly matched, that's going to lose you the round. So
yeah, fair enough. You know,
that's a pretty big swing.
Yeah. I don't know. I like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like we've dwelled on this for a while. Like,
right. Yeah. No, I agree. Let's move on.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not trying to dwell on it. Like I wasn't there and it doesn't affect me personally. But like I think you said earlier, the main thing is like the integrity of the game and you know what I mean? And like the event and stuff. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we got paired into the host country.
The host country. What an honor.
And proceeded to step on them.
You sure did.
105
to 55 is. Oh, no.
Yeah, where I think they made a mistake on the map at the end because I know that they paired Zinch into Corn, which is like real bad. And it was on shifting objectives, which is real bad for them.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, it's still.
But that was the last match, so it was kind of like maybe they didn't pair the right thing ahead of time, I guess.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but they said afterwards that they made a mistake in the pairings process, which cost them.
Yeah, there's 2-0 scores on there.
I don't think that was part of it actually.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. Because like we had me rated as a yellow into that gets list, and then Jake I think was like a blue, which means it's volatile, which means it could be a big score one way or the other. So that's actually kind of expected. His 20, or not expected, but like it's not unreasonable. And then mine was just like blowing, just getting a lot of what I wanted and murdering someone basically. But, Austria,
like.
A lot of really great people. Like their team was really nice. I traded jerseys with one of the coaches. And yeah, they were nice people.
That's awesome.
Devin says, Marcus, you the best. Can't wait for another game. Yeah, that's so. There's kind of a theme the whole event where, at least we thought that Carl, who was the coach, couldn't talk to us unless we call a timeout. But the players could say whatever they want to the coach. So we'd just be like making fun of Carl, knowing that he can't actually respond to you the entire time.
That's diabolical.
Yeah, so I know that Devin and Marcus were just like laughing up their entire game, which is really great to hear on like a top tier competitive level.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I know Devin's a great guy and everything, but it's a lot easier to laugh when you're crushing the person 16-4 than it is when you're on the losing end of things. So good on him. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Devin says they got their cards for Cities and Zinch backwards by mistake. Who did Cities go into?
Cities. Beast. Oh, they went into. Oh, I see.
Ridge.
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I definitely would have made it a harder matchup for Devin, but I think it still would have been a win.
Right.
And then I don't know how that would change Ridge's game. Maybe he would have lost small or something like that. Keith asked, Dom seems to be having a rough go of it. Were they the designated to take the hit for the team and do your best against tough opponents? Yes. Like that wasn't initially the plan, but like if you see in round 1, Dom was paired up against Korn, which is a bad matchup for Slaves to Darkness. But he still kept it to an 8-12, which is great. Round 2, Dom was paired up against what? Soulblight, I think on like a spread map as well, which was like pretty rough. And he kept it to a 7-13, which is good. What did he get round 3 against Spain? I think he got Gits on like Star Strike or something like that. It was like Krogs on Star Strike, so they're like a movable anvil kind of thing. So yeah, he had a lot of bad matchups for sure.
That's rough, and good on him for, like I think you were saying that like Dom, he wasn't designated that as in the beginning. It just kind of ended up that way. Like, yeah, and that's tough, and like Slaves probably isn't the best army for that. Am I wrong?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, like the nice thing about Slaves is that it always has the potential to just blow someone out by accident. But
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, in retrospect, I think that's one thing I probably would have advocated to change is like maybe not having Slaves to Darkness
right
in that rule, because like we kind of made our attackers other things.
Right.
Like
you might want like a control army, like a bunch of.
Even like Iron Jaws would have been good. I think.
Yeah, Iron Jaws, a bunch of Clan Rats.
Or Zinch or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is actually more Dom's playstyle too. So I think that's definitely like.
What's his main army?
He's played a bunch, but I know he plays Iron Jaws and Slaves a bunch.
Oh shoot! Okay, yeah.
Or no, Nurgle would have been like a big army for him too.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
Which would have been good.
All of those, yeah, good for him.
Yeah. Dan says in 2023, one team had a designated grenade jumper, and after each game, the whole team cheered and celebrated him the most and told him their wins were because of him, so he was constantly loved. Yeah, exactly. Like
that is so sick. Which team was that? I need to know. That is what a cool thing to do.
Yeah, like it's a teams format, so you know that you have to do that every round.
Yeah.
Right? Like not everyone's going to get perfect matchups unless the opposing team made like huge mistakes, so they just don't understand your comp.
Right.
So someone's going to get a bad go of it. And it happened to be Dom, and no one shames him for like losing a bunch of games. Like we know that he got bad matchups, and we know that he actually did well with them. Like
sometimes you guys were the ones making the bad matchups, right?
Yeah.
Like it's got to be someone, slap him on the ass, get in there, but go get him, Tiger.
Have fun.
Yeah. Oh man.
Then I think next round.
Okay. Next round.
We went into Serbia, round 5.
Wow.
This was another revenge round where Serbia beat Canada last year.
Right.
We're like, never again.
She's 113-47 is crazy.
We almost capped Serbia, which is pretty crazy.
Good Lord.
That was another one where they thought that Nurgle would be really good into ogres, and it wasn't. Jake
I
that
would,
really
to be
likes him.
honest, I would have thought the same. I would have thought the same. I mean, like, I guess I should know better because, you know, you've been mainlining ogres for years now, but I don't play Nurgle, so
Yeah,
sorry. But,
there's actually an interview from the Paradise, like the German stream, because this round was streamed. I think it was both Ridge and Jordan's tables were streamed.
okay.
And after my game with the Nurgle guy, they like interviewed me, being like, "What did you think about this matchup?" And I kind of explained there in more detail, like why ogres is good into Nurgle, and the reason is because you've got the Fang of Gur artifact, which is a once per game ward shut off, and
Oh,
and with the
what?
current and with the current rules in the GHB, you have access to an anti-infantry +1 rend, and
right.
like gluttons at base are 49 attacks for a block of 12, right?
Yep.
You all out attack.
You sure are
You're
good.
probably you're handing someone like 37 saves or something like that.
Right. And then with no ward, that's
I mean,
insane.
even if it's rend 1, if you
Yeah.
hand someone like 36 saves
Yeah.
and they fail 1/3 of them because they'll be on a 3-up save,
Right.
they're still failing 12 saves, which is 24 damage. And if you don't have a ward, it's just, come on, like,
That's
crazy, right? And gluttons are 4 wounds to Blight Kings 3, which means I can always be powering through back if I need to, which means I can always keep reapplying that anti-infantry +1 rend
Right.
against them,
Yeah.
which is just, yeah. So basically, I have an ability to just like point and click delete 10 Blight Kings. And in an army that's relying on having 30 Blight Kings and just like grinding you out, that's really, really bad. If they're losing like 5+ Blight Kings in their own turn, or sometimes even more, and then 10 Blight Kings in the opponent's turn, like it's really like they lose the grind really, really quickly.
Right.
So Keith says, question, is it that Nurgle is bad into ogres, or is that Nurgle is bad into Carson playing ogres? Nurgle, I think, is bad into my specific ogre list. If Nurgle was into like monster trucks, I think it would be fine, probably. But into this list, because the issue is like I just do not care about disease whatsoever. Because it's like I have 220 wounds in the list that I brought. And it's like, okay, you're gonna ping me for D3, sounds good. Like,
Right.
because I can be powering through away and stuff like that, it's just not a big deal. And then I have like way more control score than the Nurgle list. So basically, I'm gonna dogpile onto them on objectives. They're not gonna score any primaries because we both want to be in a dense map. So they're not gonna score any primaries. They're losing the grind, and yeah, like it's just bad. Like it's not an easy time for them.
You both want to be on a dense map, but aren't ogres better on a spread map than Nurgle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you would never see Nurgle on a spread map in a team setting. Like,
No,
they're
fair.
just not. Yeah.
You know, again, unless you said mistakes were made. Dance's Natasha the Maniac with Gits is such a vibe. I don't.
Yeah, she was on Team Serbia. She played against Dom and unleashed hell on him. He was apparently they had a really good game, but yeah, she kicked the crap out of him.
Did you get any Serbian things to say from?
So the opponent that I played actually wasn't Serbian. He was
Oh,
Scottish, living in China. So
okay.
yeah. So
That's
like,
crazy.
I don't think he would have understood me even if I did. So.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, because I think Boggy is like, he was the captain, and I think so. He is Serbian, but I think he's living in like either Thailand or Vietnam or
Wow.
or maybe China. But he knew a couple people from like China that were also Serbian or that played Warhammer or whatever as like mercenaries to be on the team. So, but because if you have citizenship, regardless of where you live in the world, you can be on that team. Like them's the rules.
But the Scottish guy living in China, I'm assuming does.
Yeah,
not
so
have...
he'd be a mercenary.
Oh, I see. Got it. Yeah, because you're only allowed up to a certain amount. You're allowed up to 2, I think you said.
Yeah, and then like Stuart King, the Cities of Sigmar player, like he's from the southeast U.S.
Oh,
like, he's
crazy!
Not Serbian.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow, mercenaries, you say? Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
and then last but not least, you went into
Denmark.
Team Denmark. Wow.
Which,
whoa.
Oof,
This is
we got...
this is your biggest loss for sure. Hey.
Yeah. So at this point, there's like a bunch of things to consider. I think this game would have decided whether we get like 4th place or 10th place.
Jeez.
So if we won this game, we would have been 4th. But
Wow.
if we lost, it was like still top 10, but at the very limits of it. And this kind of illustrates like Canada this year didn't play anyone kind of in the middle, it felt like, or like in that middle upper. Our losses were against Denmark, Spain, and France, which were like placed 2nd, 3rd, and 5th at the end of the tournament. Whereas we got knocked down to 10th.
But largely, I guess it's because you beat Greece so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we capped Greece, and because we lost to France so small, we were constantly playing like basically we were playing like very like top tier teams as soon as we started going like even to mid win rate. So like 1-1 or 1-2 or that sort of thing. But sorry, as soon as we went to like 1 and 2, then we were playing like the top of the 2 and 2 kind of thing. And then, or sorry, the bottom of the 2 and 2, which is like, there was a huge disparity between the teams I think that we played, where basically like we played super competitive teams and then like the lower middle of the pack teams, I think, but not really anyone in the middle.
Right.
So, but yeah, that Denmark, I think at the very end was us kind of being like, ah, crap. And then as you can hear now, probably I'm still a little bit sick. But Dom and myself got sick on like day 2. And then this round 6 was like full swing, like delirium sickness, where
Jeez.
I made some very stupid mistakes in my game, which cost me my first loss. Unfortunately, like I willingly put a maw pit within 24 inches of a Realm Shaper engine on deployment, and then I clocked back over to him.
Maw pit within 24 inches of the Seraphon Realm Shaper engine. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so basically what that means is he was able to pick the maw pit as the piece of the terrain that he blows up in every one of his hero phases.
Right.
And the way that it works is because it's faction terrain, it takes D3 mortal wounds, and then he can pick it as one of the units within 3 inches of it. So it takes another D3 mortal wounds.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the maw pit was like the one thing that I was trying to use to like hurt his Bastillodons, because they're 2-up saves, right? But they don't have a ward.
Yeah.
So I placed it, and then I clocked over to him, and he starts placing down his first unit, and I'm like, oh shit. Like immediately I realized like a grave error that I made. Yeah, Devin's sick as well. He got sick. I think Jake got sick too. So I kind of sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, why do you think you got sick? Like, was it just from?
So when I first got to Austria, my allergies were kind of going crazy.
Okay.
So I think my immune system was kind of down, and then Dom got like actually sick.
Oh.
And we weren't sure if it was like from someone traveling or someone from Saskatchewan or something like that, or whatever. And then I got sick from Dom. So my like actual sick symptoms started like a couple days after his.
Okay.
And then basically as we were leaving, like Devin and Jake got sick.
Do you think it was because like after every game you played, you guys would kiss each other and like maybe that?
No, it can't be that.
It can't be that.
No. That.
Okay.
No.
It was just an
That's
idea.
stupid.
Yeah, I know, but
because we would use tongue condoms. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, well, anyway, you said what you said.
I don't even want to entertain this anymore. We're still doing it next year.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It's mandatory if you want to be on the team. So stop questioning it.
I just if you don't ask, you don't get answers. Okay. So.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But then for Denmark, there was also the team that had some lists that, like, we didn't completely understand, whereas we were relying on that in all of our previous rounds of like all of the teams that were facing us didn't know what Jake's list did and it didn't know what my list did, and we basically leveraged those into wins.
Cool.
With Denmark, they're a team that like they prepare more than any other team. Like they've won the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're one of the strongest teams out there. Yeah.
Yeah, they've won the last 2 AoS Worlds, and then the most recent singles WCW champion is Kasper Karlsmose, who's on Team Denmark as well. Wow. Like They're a very good team. They're extremely well prepared. So if there's any team that's going to know what our lists do, it's them. And if there's any team that's going to come up with a list that we don't understand, it's going to catch us off in pairings, it's also them. So they definitely caught us off. And then like in combination with us being kind of like a little bit down about the Spain thing still, and getting an extremely hard match in our round 6 despite being like 2-3.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Or 2-2. No, 3-2. Yeah.
That feels messed up though. I mean,
So
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying like I'm not whatever. It just it doesn't feel good. Yeah, I get what you were feeling. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, it was like a perfect storm of like they are an extremely good team. Our morale is probably a little bit low, and then we're sick on top of that, and that definitely it showed. Because I think the pairings were actually the best for like our projected score against Denmark, but everyone was kind of like, "Ugh, this." I don't think I believe that. Like, I think that this is wrong. Like, our metrics are not good here. So this, but regardless of that, I want to make it clear that Denmark is like the cleanest possible country you can play against.
They're famous for being to excellent
lovely people too. And this is actually my birthday. This game.
Oh, the game!
Like
wow.
Like the day that this game happened, and like Denmark came and hung out with us after at the pub, and like both Christopher and Yannick, I think, sang me a very lengthy Danish birthday song that I will never be able to repeat because I have no idea what any of it was. And they did like some weird like like guitar thing. They asked me what my favorite instrument was, or like they asked me to name an instrument, and I just said guitar. And then they sang this whole like it felt like 2 minutes straight of like Danish singing. And then they went and did like guitar solos, but they knew the notes.
Did they have a guitar?
No. Like air guitar, and they're like making like mouth noises. But the noises they were making with their mouth, like it matched up the notes. So clearly there's like a tune here that I wasn't picking up on, and it was incredible. Yeah, they're very nice people.
That's awesome.
So it was great in that aspect to play them at the end, because I mean, if you say you played Denmark round 6, then clearly your team's doing quite well.
Right.
So
where did Denmark finish?
5th.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, they won the previous 2 years. So
cheese and crackers. So if you go 6-0 and no other team goes 6-0, do you automatically win, or does it just still come down to points?
So this year, yes, because the system changed.
Okay.
I guess we can go to placings and see like where everyone ended up.
Right.
You'll see that there actually was no 6-0
placings. No, I know.
Yeah.
There was Team America, Team France.
They tied.
Yeah.
But Team America
part of why I was asking.
Yeah, Team America scored 598 points. Which is they still would have won even if it was only based on points. So America just kicked everyone's ass this year. However, if you organize it based on the previous years, so like let's say we scored it just on points, I think Canada would be 5th.
Oh,
and not
really?
10th
Wow.
Yeah, we scored a lot of points because like every loss that we had except Denmark was very close, and every win that we had was like nearly capping our opponents. There was no in between like close wins.
I see. Wow.
So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, like really great event overall. I think there's a bunch of people that were like, and myself included, like a little bit dragging their feet about how it's not easy to get to this place. Like it was a 2-hour train ride from Vienna.
I thought you just meant like just traveling to Worlds in general.
Sure.
Unless it's in your home country, it's crazy expensive,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, Leoben was a really beautiful town. The event space was really good. It was a really well-run event. So like big props to the Tom Meegans and his whole team setting all of this up. Thank you very much. I definitely intend to come back next year.
If they'll have you.
If they'll have me.
Yeah. Who's Team WPFR?
Warhammer players from Russia. So they don't want to represent Russia as a country, but they are.
Got you.
Yeah. for political reasons, which
I mean,
fair.
no, I feel like no one would blame them. Like, they're from Russia, they are Team Russia, but I think it's just an acknowledgement. So good
Yeah.
on them. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Wow.
yeah, this year, I mean, this is the only year I've ever been there, but according to some people who've been there multiple years, like it felt like the difference between like the top 5 teams and the next top 5 to like 10 was like very small. Like Poland, Germany, England, Denmark, Russia, Spain, France, America, all of them were like really neck and neck for a lot of different games. And like you can see in Spain's results too, like they didn't have a single score above 89. Like all super close games. France as well, like they had an 82 and 85, a tie, a 92 and 93. Like there's a lot of really close matches. It was only uniquely Canada where it was like smashing people below us and then having super close games with people above us, essentially.
Right.
So
Do you think that they should, like, so it's the better the score you get, the harder match you have thereafter?
yeah, that is what it was. It was
But why are we rewarding, like, why is it better to, you know what I mean? Like, why are we rewarding the teams that are like not doing as well? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't you be trying to get as many points as possible?
like it's tough because so it's Swiss pairings, and by that it means you're going to play the person who is most similar to you in standings.
Yeah.
So so it's like after round 1,
Yeah.
4 teams capped their opponents, like I said. And
Right.
that means that those 4 teams have to face each other only. And then let's say you got like a really close game, you're only going to face the other teams who had really close games.
No, I
And
understand.
yeah.
You know, is it like is it like a rubber banding kind of thing?
Yeah, like it's supposed to be that you're like evening out to eventually the closest possible matchup. If that makes sense. Because like let's say you completely stomp someone and then you face someone else and then it's like a closer win. And then you face someone else and it's like even closer, if not tied, which I think is what happened with the US. And oh no, it was after 4 games they tied France. Like you can literally see America's score capping and then slowly going down and then going up a little bit and stabilizing. Does that make sense? Because it's like 120, 119, 91, 80, 94, 94, which means that theoretically through the event they were like slowly playing people more evenly skilled with them, except with France where that was like their one big contender and then they
Yeah, that's interesting, but it's just like, so you do well and then you make the rest of your tournament more difficult. I don't know, it's kind of it feels kind of, I don't know, it feels bad to me.
I mean, if you want to have a chance at winning, you have to play the most difficult teams, right?
Yeah, but like if you go it's like you do really well, right? And then if the next person you get is like the most difficult team, and then you lose that one, right? Which is what happened to you guys, right? Now you're 1-1. Whereas if you don't do well and then you get like another softer team, then you beat them. You know what I mean? You're now doing better. You're kind of rewarded essentially for not doing as well.
Yeah. I mean, one could say that's kind of what Spain did. They didn't have to play America or France.
That's crazy.
Or
and they got third.
Denmark.
Yeah. Or
England. Or the highest ranked team they played was WPFR, I think.
Yeah. And they that's crazy.
And they lost to them.
And they lost to them and they're third. Like this is kind of my point, you know?
Or did they lose to them? Who did they lose against?
I don't know.
Maybe Poland. I think they lost to Poland.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah, they lost to Poland.
Okay, but they beat WPFR.
Yeah.
I see.
But Poland was 8th.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's like there's no perfect solution, right?
Yeah.
The reason why they changed from like points to wins was because you're having an even worse thing that you're describing where like
Yeah, no, totally.
One
That's
team-
why I was asking first.
Yeah,
That's
because
the
like
way, it was the first thing I asked.
Denmark almost didn't win the few previous years just because they were facing basically they were at the top, and whoever's at the top has to keep swatting away the best
Yeah.
teams essentially.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you inherently just score less. Whereas like if you have the team who's like just below the next best team and they keep swatting away like the worst teams, then they're going to inherently score more.
Yeah.
And
But they're also getting wins. So like you can still.
Yeah, the difference is that now the pool is limited to just your win record. So every round, you're only playing people with the same win record as you, or sometimes there's like one pair down. Whereas before it was purely points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which was it exacerbated the problem even more.
I think this is better. I think this is a step in the right direction. I still feel like we're not quite there. Like I like AoS better in virtually every other aspect, but I'm not sure that our tournament system is like Alex played in the tournament over the weekend, Richmond reroll or whatever, and he was playing at the top table. He was 4-0, so he had the most difficult win path, the most difficult everything. And I don't remember what he got, but he went 4-1, and he ended up like, I feel like he should be in second place because he was playing on top table. He was playing against the person who won the tournament, but like that's just not how we do things,
Yeah, but I mean, like, think of the people. Like Dale also lost to Matthias, right? Who was number one, and that was his only loss, and Dale was second place.
Right.
It just happened at a different time.
Yeah.
And when there's a small enough amount of people, you're
like,
gonna keep.
Yes.
You're gonna play the. Go ahead. Sorry.
But after that, though, like in the scenario, I'm not trying to single out Dale. Like you brought up Dale, right? So when did he lose to Matthias? When did he play Matthias? Round three. So then he had 2 games after that where he is 2-1, and then 3-1. Whereas Alex is only going into people that have only won so far, so his path is more difficult. I mean, like, I don't want to like drag on about it or whatever, but like, I don't know, like if you're playing on top table, you're playing only the most difficult people throughout the whole thing at every possible scenario, and except for the first one. So you can get lucky in the first one, but after that, I don't know. And I'm not singling out Alex either. Like I'm not. Like, I'm just like I noticed that like Alex. This is just Alex is this scenario because he happened to be playing on top table at this tournament. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's an argument to be made about like ranking based on your opponent win path instead, or your win path, I guess, where it's like you start with your win bracket and then your win path, where like technically someone who's lost their first game versus their fourth game would be ranked lower.
Yep. I think that's how it should be. And I mean, like sometimes you get, put into like the most difficult guy at the tournament, and that sucks. But you know what I mean? Like that's more of an argument for like seedings, and we obviously we can't do that in AoS. Like there's just not enough, data and whatever. Like we don't have pros for this and whatever, and like that's a whole other conversation. And I mean, like it's not like I'm playing in tournaments, so it's not like I have like an axe to grind. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like this is just something that like, I don't know. I look at it and I'm like sometimes like I look at lists on warhammer, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, oh, like I'm like lately, like I never look at like Skaven lists because like I don't, like I know what they do, and you know what I mean? Like I can see that like, anyway, it doesn't really matter. But like occasionally I'll look at a list, right? And it's like top 3 on Warhammer, and like sometimes they have 2 losses. And I'm just like I don't care about a list that went 3-2 at a tournament. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean anything. Or even if they went 4-1, sometimes it's like they, like they lose their second game or their first game or whatever. And I'm like, okay, like I want to know like the list that went 4-1 and lost on top table. You know what I mean? Like that's way more interesting to me. But I don't know. So
No system's perfect. It's tough because like, are you gonna rank it purely based off your win path after wins? And if that's the case, then it's still just a question of luck, right? Like, what if you get paired into the person who wins the entire event in round one?
Yeah.
Right? It just sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
the like it's even more random though when you go by points, because like if you could just get placed into like someone who is, the worst person there in your win bracket sort of deal, and then you're just stomping them, or you know what I mean, you can get lucky, you can get a bye. Like there's so many things that could happen where you get bad luck. I mean, we're playing a dice game. I feel like you can only just make it as fair as possible. Again, unless you start seeding tournaments. But I don't think seeding is a thing that we can do in this game. Like, you know what I mean? We don't have professional players for Age of Sigmar, and hopefully we never do.
Yeah.
But
it's a problem that is going to be very difficult to solve. I don't think it'll ever be solved, to be honest.
it'll never be solved. It's not something. It's like balance. You know what I mean? It's like it's not even, a thing. But yeah, where do we view these results? Oh yeah, Australia, Team Australia. Yeah. Dan is. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please.
I think they came 13th. Australia did.
That's really good. You know,
out of 28 teams.
28 teams, very good. Yeah. Team Australia, I think, is another team that tends to punch above their weight. But I feel like a loss against Matthias would be at least be a learning experience. Matthias is one of the best people to play against for learning. Even like I've seen him play like competitive matches, and he's so generous with his everything. You know what I mean? Anything that's like on the line, at least like in my experience with him, you know what I mean? No, I've always really liked playing Matthias. Even when he just pushes my teeth in. He was my demon for so long. Yeah. So nothing but good things to say about Matthias. Yeah. Except he's a redhead, but that's...
Yeah, can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, I bit below what we were hoping for, but had some tough matchups. Had to play USA, England, Denmark, and Italy.
Yep. Yep, Denmark's a good team.
Famously good team. But anyway, anything you wanted to add? Oh, yes. There's definitely something you were thinking about announcing tonight. No?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay.
Nope.
You don't know what I'm referring to?
I think I do, but no, not the...
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about that?
No.
Okay. You said potentially something like that might be in the cards. So cool.
And now no one will know.
No one will know. Everyone. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I thought you were just forgetting, to be honest.
No. It's a process. So
Right on. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone for joining us. We were, we had it's like two different sections to the podcast tonight, but that was really interesting. Is it in Austria next year?
We don't know. There's going to be bidding.
It's like the Olympics or whatever.
Yeah, countries will bid, and then all of the captains from each team will vote, presumably collecting the opinions of their team. And then whatever country
try and have it
wins
in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think people will really want to do that, to fly. Like 25 out of 28 countries will have to fly minimum like 14 hours to get here.
Yeah, well, it's a sought after tourist destination.
That's true. Would you like to host it?
At my house?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Bring those 250 people right on in here.
Yeah.
Play one at a time on stream.
One at a time. Yeah, we're not even using the other rooms. That makes sense to me. Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks to everyone for hanging out. Sorry, there was a lot of information this week, so we weren't as interactive with the chat. I won't promise to do better next week, but we will try. Lots of rules coming out every day. If you if you got this far, we love you. Please consider liking, subscribing, and all that jazz. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.